Oprah is a...
You suggesting Jay is a...
He has some tendencies. I mean, he's no activist out here in these streets.
No, he's not an activist.
How dangerous do you think he is as a person?
I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met.
Do you think it was a mistake for Jay-Z to respond with a lawyer?
And we apologize to Jay-Z and Beyoncé.
The platform too big is you shut down peers, but you didn't shut down the sister. LeBron, how can you as a black man with all we've been through, how could you dare go public and stand with Israel in their genocide against the Palestinian people? Under slavery, the black man was a commodity to be owned and traded. If I had the power to strip every black male and female student athlete, I would do it right now. Because the money that they're making are not benefiting us. All Caucasians in the music industry are parasites. Oprah is the richest woman in the history of the North American continent. But God forbid that woman go back to our ancestors having done nothing significant for her race.
Do you think Oprah's done nothing?
Give me something significant. Honestly, because most of our celebrities are controlled and financed through the white power structure, the best thing they could probably do for me is shut up and sit down.
Yo, welcome to It's Up There podcast. I am your active and attractive host for another episode of the fastest growing podcast on the market right now. Uno not dos, you must never seen the game up close. Go to patreon.com, It's Up There podcast for all the vibes. This is the highest level of game. I want to send a shout out to iHeart, send a shout out to Prize Picks and all of my business endeavors. We're doing beautiful as it pertains to this content world. And we're going to have a great conversation. Dr. Umar Johnson, can we get a quick update on the school as we get into this conversation today?
Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. When I get back home to Philadelphia Monday, it looks like we're finally going to get the steps power washed for the first time since we've owned the school. So I'm looking forward to that. I may also have a brother who's going to lay down the floor in the school. Really right now, we are at the stage of cosmetic surgery. And what I mean by that is we got another layer of paint for the walls. We have to cover up some of the floors. Some will be tile, some will be carpet. And really that's it. We got about 4 doors. We got to switch out 4 doors. So I'm waiting on the invoice from the door company. But floor and doors, and it's only a few internal doors, and we ready to apply for our certificate of occupancy. So we are really at the finish line, but we got to dot every I and cross every T. I was told that the school need to be absolutely 100% move-in ready. So I want to make sure everything's done. And to be honest with you, bro, we probably got a week worth of work left, but it's probably going to take us longer than a week because you got to get the right person.
Right.
But I would be shocked if we're not applying for our certificate of occupancy before the end of the year.
Beautiful. Do you see yourself opening? What is the time frame from applying for the certificate to opening the actual school?
The question is, how long does license and inspection take to get out there and actually do their job? I was told that it can take months, but I ran into an inspector the other day. He told me it could be in a couple days. So, I guess the truth is somewhere in between that. Assuming we don't get hit with nothing. That's the biggest issue. Will we get hit? If we don't get hit with anything, I'm looking for a grand opening celebration without donors in Black History Month. You know what I mean? Give us January to prepare and roll it out. We might do what is Black History Month, 28 days. We might do 28 events in 28 days. Because the other thing too, Loon, we got to test the school to make sure everything that was fixed is working, if y'all know what I mean. Let's flush these toilets. Let's use these things. Let's play with this heat. Let's play with this AC, because you want to make sure the school is workable before the children get in there.
Exactly.
And we don't plan on bringing the children till August. So we'll have about 9 months to make sure everything we paid for is in working order. Because mind you, everything's fixed, but we haven't used anything.
Right.
Because nobody's coming in there yet. You follow me?
Yes.
So we need to, you know what I mean, shake some doors and tap on some windows, you know what I mean? And make sure everything we paid for is working. And so we'll have 9 months to do that.
That's a beautiful thing. And you know that's an actual real thing, because you can even have a home and not use the bathroom that's on the other side of the house, and the pipe busts all of a sudden. You're like, well, I ain't even used this. So that's definitely a beautiful thing. Do you foresee that the government or the state will try to give you some arrested development and getting into the...
I anticipate that my YouTubian struggle streaming ass haters are going to lay some traps. The government, they're going to lay a few traps, but I think they depend on the YouTubian struggle streamers to feed them. I think they want them to feed them, because that's what they normally do. They feed them what they think I'm doing wrong, and then the government kind of follows up with them. So we probably going to get some stuff. You know, I anticipate, you know, I don't know, some LGBT, some white, some, I don't know what it's going to be, whether with the applications, whether it's going to be with applications for work, for staff, for students. I anticipate some nonsense.
Right, yeah.
But you know what I told people when they asked me whether or not, you know, LGBT students will be allowed into school, from where I stand, with my background in psychology, I don't really see our children as LGBT. I see them as being confused. So all I have to do is educate the boys as boys and educate the girls as girls, and everything else will work itself out. So will they be allowed? Sure, they will be allowed, because I don't see them as LGBT. That may be how they see themselves, but I believe we can correct any of the indoctrination, any of the nonsense that has been put into the minds of our children, because I believe that when the Creator gave birth to African people as the first people, you know, as the chosen people, we are designed to lean towards the truth. We don't always lean towards the truth, but we're designed to lean towards the truth. And with our children being the most innocent and most inexperienced sector of our community, once we give them that raw, unapologetically African-centered culture, that raw spiritual culture, that raw history, that raw Pan-Africanism, he ain't gonna wanna be nothing other than a boy. And the young ladies, when we open up the Girls Academy, they're not gonna wanna be anything other than some beautiful young women.
That's a beautiful thing. She needs to fix your
Come on up, Queen.
I'm sorry about this, you guys. You know, we gotta make sure the audio is always top tier.
I'm gonna help you out, baby. Yeah. You can stay a little longer though. You kind of curvy. Shut up! 5'5".
We know what you like too. Don't act like, you know, a lot of times you like to run from, like, man, you know, let's talk about that first of all.
What's up?
You know, last year I had you here and I talked to you about beloved Sukiyana.
Yes.
And we had a communication. You say, you know, I meet people where they are.
Yes.
I'm a man myself. Your interaction with Sukiyana, it lends me some information that I want to try to ask you to clarify.
Uh-huh.
Is there anything that you are attracted to when it comes to the beautiful Sukiyana?
I'll tell you what attracts me to Sukiyana. She is a completely different woman off the television set. When we had dinner, that conversation was so pure, so innocent, so honest. I almost forgot who I was having dinner with. So what she does on television, although I don't condone it, it's a persona. Behind all of that is a beautiful woman. And I hope before it's too late that she turns the corner, because she has a lot to offer our community if she can come back over to this side. You know, that's my hope. I wanted to come back over to this side.
What does too late look like?
I don't know. But what I do know is in the world of entertainment. When you start to get on the other side of 40, right? That's your golden years in entertainment. Black don't crack, as you know. But when our sisters get on the other side of 40, when they're in the show business industry, that's when the views and everything can begin to slow down, you know, and I want her to make that shift before she gets there. She got some time before she gets there, but I want her to make the shift while she's still on top, still commanding an audience. Do right while you're still under the light.
Do you think that some of your audience, I believe, is not as open-minded to that subject as you?
I agree. Very judgmental.
Right.
In fact, the black consciousness community might be more judgmental than the Christian church. The black conscious community might be more judgmental than the Islamic masjid. They might be more judgmental than some of our Hebrew Israelite brothers. We're very judgmental and we're quick to condemn in black consciousness, which I think is one of the misgivings of the culture. Because despite all the knowledge and information we've given people, on the flip side, we're very quick to judge by appearances. So for example, I want all black women natural, right? And one day every sister in here who's not natural going to be natural, okay? But I'm still going to accept my sisters who not natural. They're not going to get judged. They're not going to feel uncomfortable. I'm not going to run them out the room because I know there's no compulsion in consciousness. People come to consciousness on their own terms. You cannot force it. I've had sisters who I never thought would go natural, bro, who show up to me one day at an event and say, Dr. Umar, look. Brothers who I never thought would stop bunny hopping. And they show up one day, and they'll show up one day with a black woman. Proud. Look, Doc, I finally did. I'm like, I gave up on that brother. I thought he was done. He shows up 6 years later with a beautiful dark-skinned chocolate queen, right? So I had to learn that we can't expect people to change when we want them to change. Let them come in their own term. Look at El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, Malcolm X. He was raised in a Garvey family. His father was a leader of the Garvey movement. In fact, it was Malcolm's father who put pressure on President Calvin Coolidge to exonerate Marcus Garvey. Malcolm's father did that. But after the father passed and the mother was institutionalized, Malcolm went wayward for a long time. But did he end up back to consciousness? Yes, in the last year of his life, he ended right back with Garvey's Pan-Africanism. You gotta give people time to make the mistakes that karma requires in order for us to learn from our experiences.
Yes, sir. That's a beautiful thing. I want to ask you about Steve Harvey.
Yes, sir. Uncle Steve.
There was after the Democratic National Convention, I believe he came out in support of Kamala Harris.
Yes.
You pushed back and said that you received a phone call or some sort
Text
of message, communication, that they were willing to give you some money to endorse Kamala.
Not to endorse, but to interview.
Interview.
Yes.
Okay. And so did you
15,000.
verify? Because
I posted it.
After that, they denied it.
Well, no one from Kamala Harris's camp denied it.
They didn't?
No.
I thought Charlemagne, Breakfast Club, I thought they said that no one reached out.
No.
Okay.
No, and the reason they can't, because when you look at the DNC and the RNC, they're so large.
Yes, man.
They have offices,
Yeah.
you understand?
Yes,
so that means you got to check with every office to see if nobody reached out to Dr. Umar. To be honest with you, I thought it was a normal thing. I'm an influencer. He has the voice of young black America. Throw him 15 grand for the interview. But me being a political scientist, I know that money was to soften the questions. I know that money was to kind of show her in a good light. And what I told them was, we can do it, but it must be live. It cannot be edited, and it must be direct to the people. They did hit me back a second or a third time, but then they kind of fell off after I made those demands. I believe it was legitimate.
Did you have a point of contact? Or?
Yeah, the phone
So it
number.
was
It's
someone-
still in my
okay.
phone. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's still in my phone.
So you
and I posted it because I wanted people to see. Because you know me, anytime I get anything underhand, I expose it. Just like people from, who's the Kennedy brother who was running as an independent.
Yeah, Robert.
His team
Yes.
reached out a couple times. They reached out his last campaign. They reached out this campaign. And he decided to endorse Trump. And I was kind of disappointed because you came to me seeking support and then you end up on Trump team. So you really wasn't about what you claimed to have been. That's why the Honorable Marcus Garvey, he never allowed us to endorse politicians. You feel me? We do either way.
Wow.
Good or bad, black or white, we do not endorse politicians. And the reason why, Brother Loon, if Loon is running for mayor of Nashville, Dr. Umar publicly endorses Loon. Loon ends up selling out the people. The damning of his reputation is automatically the damning of my reputation. The quickest way for me to destroy the respect and trust I have from our people is to publicly support a candidate that the community does not finance.
Now, Steve Harvey response says, you can't pay Steve Harvey $10,000 to do nothing.
Right.
He vehemently denied that he was offered money. Now, his endorsement, he says, is pure. His questions, he said, will be softball.
Okay.
But he didn't say he was paid for that. Do you think that politicians have to give us anything outside of promises to get us to vote for them? Because,
no.
Okay.
In fact, they don't even have to give us promises because when is the last presidential, who was the last presidential candidate that promised black people anything? Black people vote because we are shamed into voting. There's something called ancestral shaming. You know what ancestral shaming is? If you don't vote, you turning your back on Fannie Lou Hamer. If you don't vote, you turning your back on Coretta Scott King. If you don't vote, you turning your back on Medgar Evers. If you don't vote, you turning your back on Dr. King and all them ancestors who struggled and died and went to jail. No, ninja. We're not turning our back on our ancestors. We're turning our back on a party that has consistently and repeatedly ignored the issues that affect black people. They do a lot of ancestral shaming. But what they don't tell you is how the Democratic Party undermined Fannie Lou Hamer at the 1968 convention. What they don't tell you is how President Lyndon Baines Johnson tapped the phones in a hotel where all the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party members who came with Fannie Lou to Atlantic City where they stayed at, he had the FBI spying on them so they could know everything that they were strategizing so they could undermine them. Nobody tells you how the Democratic Party treated Fannie Lou. They kept mentioning her name at the DNC as if they upheld her in her day. No, they didn't. They treated that woman like she was less than dirt, and they got the nerve to use that ancestor's name to try to make it look like the Democratic Party is the party of blacks. Here's my thing to Uncle Steve, and I like Steve Harvey. He bougie, coonish, but I like him, okay? When Steve said he wasn't paid, I believe him. But you know what he didn't say? That his network did not receive compensation. You're not going to tell me that the Steve Harvey show or the D.L. Hughley show or the Ricky Smiley show sits on a white platform. And these white folks who are all about money, knowing Kamala raised $30 million in one night just with black folks, and you're going to sit up here and endorse this woman freely all through your show, and you think them white folks ain't calling her campaign office saying y'all owe us some money. He may not have taken no money, but that white platform he on, they damn sure getting paid from Kamala Harris.
Right. And I like Steve as well. You know, I've been around him a few times, had conversations with him, but there is a historical context, you know what I'm saying, that we have to examine when it comes to Democrats, any of them, and our people. But I also think that when Steve Harvey, because you got to remember, 2017, he went and hollered at Trump.
Yes, he did.
And I think we gave him a lot of backlash about that.
And we shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Because you should meet with both sides because neither are your friend.
Right.
See, when black people and D.L. Hughley in particular shamed Steve Harvey for meeting for Trump in 17, I took issue with that. I said, you're supposed to meet with both parties and see what you're going to get. But black people have this loving relationship with the Democratic Party. You're so in love with this side who's never done nothing for you that you won't even have a conversation with the other side. Who else does that? What other ethnic group in America is married to one party or the other? Are the Asians married to one party or the other? Are the Latinos married to one party or the other? Are the Arabs married to one party or the other? Absolutely not. So why should black people be married to one party or the other? And mind you, We've been voting Democrat, y'all, for 88 years consistently. Not no 30. Some people say for the last 30. No, this goes back to the 1936 election, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. In fact, even though Roosevelt lost the 1932 election, that was the first big shift we saw of black people away from the Republican Party towards the Democratic Party. That was the election of 32. That was the election of 32. But in 36, that's when black folks have consistently and continuously switched from Republican to Democrat. So this is an 88-year phenomenon. You understand me? Almost a century. What have we gotten for being so loyal for one party? And let us be clear. The Democrats and the Republicans have the same vision for black America. Extermination. The only thing they differ on is strategy and tactic. I need us to understand that. Strategy and tactic. The vision is the same. The only thing they differ on, how do we get there?
What should we ask for people like Steve Harvey? What should they be getting for a Kamala Harris endorsement?
Honestly, because most of our celebrities are controlled and financed through the white power structure, the best thing they could probably do for me is shut up and sit down. I don't want them as spokespersons. You're not knowledgeable enough to represent us. You're not loyal and passionate enough to articulate our concerns.
But don't we need them to activate voters? I mean, don't we need involvement in the political process?
Look at all the grassroots activists we have in Tennessee, from Memphis to Chattanooga to Nashville. Why would you need a celebrity why would you need Eddie George, hypothetically, head coach of TSU, who I respect? Yeah. I'm just using him as an example. Why would you need Eddie George to be the voice of black people in Tennessee when you have all these grassroots activists? You know why you would want a celebrity? Because if I use a grassroots activist who has nothing to lose, they're going to tell nothing but the truth. I don't want that conversation because I don't plan to do nothing for black people. So when I want to hear about the black reality, I want someone who's so comfortable, so well paid, so well placed, so well celebrated that he wouldn't dare say the wrong thing because he can't afford to lose his status. The reason the celebrities are the new black bourgeoisie is we no longer have college-educated bourgeois who we lean on. There's no more Andrew Youngs. There's no more Tavis Smileys. Cornel West don't have the same shine anymore. So with the 21st century, Loon, with the turn of the century, the Y2K, that switched the black bourgeoisie from being your black professionals, your NAACP presidents, your fraternity and sorority leaders. That went to the wayside. Why? Because black youth don't listen to them the way their parents did. Nobody 30 years old gives a damn about what Cornel West thinks or the president of the NAACP thinks. And I love Cornel West, don't get me wrong. He is a sand bunny hopper, but that's another conversation, okay? But nonetheless, they don't care. So if we want to control the youth, we got to control them through the people they listen to.
But I think that makes sense, though.
It don't make sense because the entertainers are more controlled by the white power structure than you and I could ever be. Look at what they make. Look how much they make. And more important, look who they make it from. When I saw LeBron James go public when Israel invaded Gaza, and LeBron James issued a statement, and he said that I stand with Israel. Now, you're supposed to be an activist, LeBron James, and I respect you. Him and Bronny, I love seeing them on the court together. I love that father-son situation as long as I don't catch Bronny bunny hopping. But nonetheless, LeBron, how can you as a black man with all we've been through, how could you dare go public and stand with Israel in their genocide against the Palestinian people? LeBron James was wrong for that, but he had no choice because his dealings with that community financially dictated that he stand with Israel.
Man, you believe that?
I know it.
So you think that LeBron is controlled?
All of them. Who ain't? The question ain't who is. The question is who isn't controlled by the power.
So do you think there's enough, that you get enough money, power, finances, or resources to break free?
Who do you think made LeBron James a billionaire last year? Thank you. The Untouchables. Yes!
Yeah, but we're gonna get to Diddy. Yeah, hold on. We're gonna get to Diddy. Shit, we're gonna get to Diddy. but so you think that there's no way to break free?
If you're willing to lose everything that you got.
So you saying that you can't keep your power and your money and be free?
Not if you made it through them. LeBron didn't become a billionaire through the Negro Leagues. You understand? He became a billionaire through the NBA, who has what? The largest percentage of untouchables as team owners. They own the NBA, and therefore they own him.
I don't know, Doc. I don't know.
This is the reality we living in, brother.
It's not no hard argument.
Listen. Under slavery, the black man was a commodity to be owned and traded.
So what's
our
the money
value?
for?
Let me finish this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Our value was contingent on how much we could physically produce for the plantation. When you look at the NFL, when you look at the NBA, when you look at our Olympic athletes, I ask you the question, has there been any change or modification in the way the power structure judges the value of a black man's life? Are we still not judged for how much we can output physically? The basketball player, the football player, the Olympic track star, you're only worth as much as you can be used by the power structure. The only difference between a slave of 200 years ago and a slave of today is the slave of today is well compensated, but he has no more power than his ancestor had on the plantation 200 years ago.
So black people's money doesn't have power?
No, it can be converted into power, but no celebrity is going to risk doing that. See, here's the thing. When you hear about a celebrity getting an endorsement deal from a Caucasian company, that endorsement deal is a slave shackle. It binds your mouth shut to the things that matter to your people. When you hear these rappers, I got an endorsement deal over here, an endorsement deal over here. That's why I respect Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. He wouldn't take it. He came out with his own sneaker. I believe Kyrie now has his own sneaker. Nike cut him. He said, don't come back to me after the drama. Keep the same energy. I'm going to go in this direction, because the more you represent brands that are not sensitive to the black agenda is the further away you are from being loyal to the community.
So what is the money for? Are you free?
Yes, because I have no attachments at all to the white power structure, brown power structure, yellow power structure, red power structure, gay power structure. I'm completely free.
When your school gets open, it
Yes.
has attachment to the government.
No, sir, because we don't
You
take
have to
government
file,
funds.
but you have to file to even be operating through the state, right?
Correct. So you have to stay in compliance legally. That's not the same as being provided for.
Nah, I'm not
You
talking
feel
about
me?
Let me handle this, please. Please. So
You're not being provided
right.
for.
But what I'm saying though is that you still have to operate in that system that you're saying black people can't.
Because we live in the country, it's no getting out of that. Following
So
rules.
all right, here we go.
Following,
We're here now.
But here you go. Following rules. Following rules, Loon, isn't the same as being subsidized by.
Yeah, but getting money through that power structure comes with rules that you must follow.
I'm not getting no money through the power.
But you're still following rules. So if
you live in the
LeBron's
system.
right, so if LeBron's following rules, you're following rules.
LeBron is financed
Right.
by Caucasians.
So that's why he's following rules.
Yes.
I'm dealing with the action. Both of you guys are following rules.
Okay.
In this scenario.
Absolutely. The difference is I'm following procedural guidelines in order to operate legally, the same as anybody else in the society. LeBron James has been financed at a level greater than most people in the society. Therefore, his freedom of action is restricted. Subsidy is not the same as obedience to law. He's subsidized.
Yeah, but I don't know if that suspends it because
It's
he makes
completely
money.
different. Doing what you got to do so you don't go to jail is completely different from doing what you got to do so you don't lose your money.
But you'll do what you have to do not to lose your money, right?
No, my money belongs to the people. I don't care about no damn money.
Don't hit me with that shit again, Umar.
No, I'm telling you the truth.
You know?
They can't control me with no money. They already
not
tried to do
control
that.
you with money, but you're doing things not to lose the money the same way LeBron is. You're not just so you're telling me that you're just wide open reckless. You don't care about the money.
I wouldn't say reckless. I would say revolutionary.
All right. Well, that makes sense. But I still don't believe. I mean, I'm wondering, what does that say to the young black boy, like that wants to utilize the NBA or utilize some of those systems to gain financial freedom and try to break free? You're basically telling the young black boy that there's no way to break free.
I lie to you not, brother. And I say it to the audience here, my Nashville family. If I had the power to strip every black male and female student athlete of their God-given skill, I would do it right now. Because the money that they're making with their God-given and ancestral-given talents are not benefiting us. Look at all the snow bunnies who are getting rich off these black men going to the league. We don't benefit. How has the NBA benefited black America? How has the NFL benefited black America? How has hip hop culture benefited black America? It has not.
No.
So if I were in charge, there would be a moratorium on gangster rap. There would be a moratorium on the NFL, NBA, and Olympics. Ain't nobody playing shit until we get our business back together.
I don't think that's a small move, Doc.
I do.
To strip every black boy of their God. Do you know what people are gaining by going to certain Ivy League colleges with scholarships and then getting hurt before they get to the league?
You're giving me individualism. We're talking about group progress.
Enough single people will make a group, though.
They will make a group of talented, bourgeoisie, elitist ninjas. We don't want that. We want a progressive black community, and you don't judge the condition of a people by 10 Negroes at the top who take orders from Caucasians.
Is people with more money than you bougie? Do you think that because I'm richer than you?
No, I'll give you one who wasn't. Attorney, O.J. Simpson's attorney, Johnny Cochran, was a man of financial means who was loyal to his people. And you've had others throughout time. You understand? But you don't have
But
many.
when you throw around bourgeoisie and all this here, I need to have some criteria.
I'm not speaking purely of income. I'm talking about income and consciousness. I make this money and I do not consider myself loyal to, nor do I have any obligation to, the best interests of black people. That is a bourgeoisie.
How do you be loyal to black people? A millionaire. Give them the game.
A millionaire? You should be building an institution. If you are a millionaire.
So nobody's loyal. You're the only one that got to build an institution that I know.
Then guess what?
See, this is what I mean. How the hell do you be able to set the standards like that? To say, well, nobody's loyal because they ain't doing what I'm doing.
No, listen. I didn't say me. You said me. I didn't say me.
So, okay.
No, what I'm saying is, for me, as a Pan-Africanist, as a black activist, as a follower of the teachings of the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, our standard is high for our people. Why? Because our ancestors' standard was high for themselves. Look at what Fannie Lou Hamer had to go through for you and I to be on this stage. Look at what a Frederick Douglass and a Marcus Garvey, look at a Medgar Evers and a Huey P. Newton. Look at what they had to go through for us to even be sitting here having this conversation in Nashville, Tennessee, of all places. Who am I to say that I am not required to put forth the same level of commitment as those whose shoulders I stand on? I'm not giving you a new level of obligation. I'm bringing back the old level of obligation.
Is this institution thing, like, is this a real idea? Like, is this something that can be materialized?
Don't Chinese have self-sustaining institutions? Don't you?
Not in America?
You find a Chinatown in almost every major city, especially the big ones.
I'm talking about the school inside of it.
Same thing. They have their own school.
Do they?
Yes.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Where is ours? Check it out. You can't show me a Black Wall Street in America. You can't show me one.
They burnt it down, didn't they?
104 years ago. Why we ain't built the new one yet? You can't show me one city where we own the bank, the school, the hospital, and the supermarket. And you know what's sad? Look at all these billionaires we got. Even with billionaires, we don't have no industries for the community. Look at my sister Oprah. And I love my sister Oprah. She came from nothing, from here, TSU.
Yes.
And look what she became. But don't you know, when I visited Tennessee State, maybe 2 visits ago, I was interviewed at the station where Oprah made her name. And I'm sitting there, and I couldn't help but say to myself, this station still looks like what it probably looked like when Oprah sat here. With all the white women you made rich on that damn show, with all the Dr. Phils and others who you promoted to national prominence, you couldn't even give them enough money to fix up the station? Oprah is the richest woman in the history of the North American continent. God forbid if she go back to her ancestors, and we hope that's no time soon, but God forbid that woman go back to her ancestors having done nothing significant for her race.
Do you think Oprah's done nothing?
Give me something significant.
I'm asking.
Scholarships don't count. The
Scholarships
next Negro who tell me about some damn scholarships.
Whoa. Hold on. Hey, listen, we are recording. So y'all please, man. I know I told y'all to be involved, but we are recording. Listen. So Oprah, you telling me that Oprah has done nothing and scholarships mean nothing while you're working on a school. Okay. Help me understand that.
I'm going to let you understand. Oprah built a grade school in South Africa. I love that. Those are my brothers and sisters. But as Pan-Africanists, we believe you struggle at home and you struggle abroad. You gave our South African family a school. They needed that. I love South Africa. But where is the one for the students in Nashville? You see, that's my issue with Oprah.
But you didn't answer the question, and that was a good point because you're great at that.
Now to the scholarships.
Yes.
Grade school is mandatory. It's obligatory in all 50 states. It's no getting around it. College is optional. The reason why I don't want Oprah and other rich blacks trying to get away with giving out scholarships and doing nothing else, when you give a scholarship, you're giving money to either a white institution, and in many cases, a white-controlled black institution. And when that child graduates, there's no guarantee of employment. When you look at the cost of college right now, what is TSU a year in tuition now? 25. So that's $100,000 tuition, not including room, board, and the rest, okay? What would be better serving our children? When we know more than half of blacks with college degrees can't find work, and most of them don't work in the industry they receive their degree in. Would we be better served with Oprah giving up $150,000 for an education, or Oprah giving up $150,000 for a business startup grant? That money should be going into business startup grants. In other words, go get your real estate license. I'm gonna set you up with your first office and your first business. Go get your plumbing, your electric, you understand? Go get your stock and investment, get your trade certificate, and I'm gonna set you up with your startup business. They should be financing entrepreneurship, not education. The future for Black America is not white man degrees. It is businesses that we run and can employ our own. Small businesses are the backbone of the American economy. And if they are the backbone of the American economy, they're the neck bone, chicken bone, and wrist bone of the black community.
Let me ask you this. With you again, I still haven't, I want to stay on this point. When a young black boy gets out of FDMG school, he's not guaranteed employment either.
Yes, he is, through us. Our graduates will get small business loans from the school itself. We're going to set them up. Now, if they want to go to college, we will support that. I'm not saying no child should go to college.
You're going to give every kid a small business loan.
That's our plan. That's absolutely
our plan. How do you plan on getting that done?
We have a plan for that. We got a nice plan for that.
See?
No. You got to that down. And I got some celebrity friends. I ain't calling no names.
Yeah.
But I got some multi-millionaire celebrity friends who y'all know who said when I need them, they're going to be there for me after the school opens. They want to see the school open. So I'm going to pick up the phone and reach out and tap on some of them brothers.
Because that's going to be a hard thing. I mean, I guess for me, it's the same thing you're asking Steve Harvey to do with Kamala. You're asking him to say, hey, what do we get? What's going on? What are you doing for black people? I'm asking you that. Hey, if a black boy goes to your school, he's not guaranteed work. You got to answer for that. Well, he's not guaranteed work, but we have business loans.
Absolutely.
And so at some point, I do want to get into that. Maybe not now, whenever you iron out those details.
But you can't confuse us providing our graduates with a business startup grant with an elective representative wanting votes without giving anything in exchange. That's
they're giving the same promise that you give.
No, it's completely different because one's job is to represent the needs of the people. You understand? Our job is to educate our children. And as part of that education, we're going to provide them with those business startups when they graduate. We're not obligated to do it. She's obligated to represent the people.
Yeah,
it's
but
two different things.
Right. But
one is an independent.
You just told me you were obligated, though. You said you just told me my ancestors. Oh, well, it don't matter why you obligated.
Yes, it does.
No, hell no.
Yes, it does.
Listen,
because
if I get arrested, it don't matter. We both get arrested. We both are arrested. All right, so listen. Help me understand. If you're
dribbling the ball behind your back, passing it off to Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
You're gonna alley-oop to Moses Malone.
Okay,
Moses Malone gonna do a step pass to Beyonce. Beyonce gonna do a double dip back dunk to Michael Jackson. He gonna roll it over to Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks gonna take it to Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings gonna take.
So help me, listen, help me understand. No. Help me understand. Let's bring it back. Help me understand. You're giving promises. Kamala is giving promises.
To children who graduate from the school. That's completely different from being the president of the United States of America.
See, you keep giving me job titles. I'm talking about intentions. I don't care about job titles. Okay. You're telling me that you just told me 5 minutes ago, I have a certain barometer because of my ancestors. I'm obligated to stand out on the hill and get these institutions done. Right? You just told me that. Then the next sentence you just told me, well, I'm obligated for a different reason. I'm not obligated because this in the same way that Steve Harvey is.
Our students, right? We're starting with 2nd through 4th grade. We won't have a graduating class for 12 years. Kamala Harris wants your vote in about 4 weeks. What the hell are we talking about?
It's still promises, though. It ain't. It's
my point is, we have more than enough time.
Listen, if I get,
there's no way for you to know whether or not I'm going to deliver until they graduate in 8 years.
And there's no.
You already know whether Kamala going to deliver because she's been VP for 4 and ain't gave you ish.
That's true. But if she's making promises on the campaign trail, you also have no way to know if she's going to deliver until she's elected.
You are absolutely right. So what promise did she make the black people so far on the campaign trail?
You're right. She hasn't made one that I've seen. And I could be wrong. I don't know.
She ain't going to make one.
So, but you said she hasn't made one. And
not
so,
to my knowledge, unless you heard something.
I haven't heard anything.
Kamala's mistake is she tried to use the Barack Obama racial identity strategy. Problem is, the people who were 16 when Obama became president, they 31, 32 now. And they not as gullible as their parents and grandparents. They want more than your color of skin as a reason to vote. See, this whole issue about Kamala being East Indian and not African would not even be an issue, Loon, if she didn't lead with racial identity as the primary reason for why you should vote for her. See, when Steve Harvey kept saying she's a black woman, why y'all don't want to see a black woman win? When DL and Ricky and Roland, when all them Negroes start saying y'all should want to see a black woman in office, and that's the only thing y'all giving us is the color of her skin, naturally people gonna say, well, time out, because I seen her mom. That lady clearly ain't black. When I look at the dad, he look a little cooley-ish. So let's dig into this a little bit. In other words, black people would have never even dug into her ancestry, bro, if she would have gave us something other to look forward to.
So you said she
Donald Trump never said he was black. Joe Biden never said he was black. Bill Clinton never said he was black. You understand? So why introduce this if you know it's not authentic? You know why she introduced it? Because she had no intention of leading with policies.
I also heard you in that same time go kind of respond to Ricky Smiley. And Ricky Smiley actually went on his show and cried. He actually shed some tears.
Yeah, because Joe Biden wrote him a personal letter. I believe in one of his sons was ill.
Oh, okay.
And see, here's another mistake we make as African people. A white person does something good for you. Just you. And because the white person did something good just for you, you think that means every black person has to sympathize with this Caucasian because they did something good for you. Your relationship with Joe Biden is your relationship with Joe Biden. It doesn't obligate the other 45 million blacks in America to be Joe Biden sympathizers. We got to stop that nonsense. That's white folks don't do that. White folks will do something for one black person, and guess what? Or that black person will do something good for that one white person, and guess what? That white person has no intention of telling any other white person that you have to do right by this black. Are y'all following me? How many times have you done something to look out for a white coworker and they never reciprocated? They never told other white folks to take your back. They don't give a damn. We're the only ones running around crying for slave masters who don't cry for us.
That's a fact. Do you you said that him crying was an all-time low.
Yes, because why is a black man crying over a white president and an East Indian vice president? And he tells us, don't y'all want to see a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha, Sorority Incorporated, and Vice President Harris gets sworn in by a member of Delta Sigma Theta, Sorority Incorporated, Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown. And I'm saying to myself, ain't they both bunny hoppers? I love the AKAs. Lord knows I love some 5'5" thicker than thigh deltas. But what the hell they got to do with policy for black America?
Yeah, I didn't like that. I'm going to be honest, I didn't like that.
It was empty symbolism.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Empty symbolism.
I did not like that.
On the day, Dr. King, a member of the Alpha Phi Alphas, Negro, please.
Yeah, I didn't like
I bet you Dr. King was in his grave saying, Negro, please.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
I love the Divine Nine.
Yeah.
But don't feed us a symbol. And to that point, I got to throw this at the Divine Nine. Y'all raised $30 million in one night. And all of them come from black communities without a single decent school, without a single decent hospital, without a single bank that will invest in our businesses, without a single decent place for our mothers to get food to feed their children. Look at what we did just for her to run. Just for her to run. You don't get the money back. 30 million in a night. That's at least 5 schools right there. So we got the money. We just don't care enough to invest in the future of our children.
Did you ever, were you ever going to join?
I was going to join Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated Harrisburg grad chapter because we didn't have no Qs at Millersville University in Lancaster. And somebody hated on me and sent my information to the wrong address. So when I showed up for the first night, Mad Dog from Temple University told me since I didn't have on a shirt and a tie, I couldn't come in. And it wasn't meant.
Right.
It wasn't meant.
Did you, I mean, what's your feeling about fraternities? And
everything's neutral. It's how you use it. Dr. King was Alpha Phi Alpha. Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad was Omega Psi Phi. Major Dr. Martin Robinson Delaney, grandfather Pan-Africanism, he was a Mason. Prince Hall, another Pan-Africanist, he was a Mason. So it's all neutral. It's what you do with it. In other words, at TSU, the fraternities might actually be, sororities might actually be into community service. They might actually be into stop the violence. They might actually be into growing black businesses. I might go down the road to FIST and it might just be a party happy situation.
Right.
It all depends where you are. The fraternities and sororities are too diverse to judge an entire organization because there's just too much variety amongst them. I speak in colleges all the time. I'm impressed with some of the stuff that they're doing at certain places. And other places, I'm like, they need to shut this chapter down because all y'all want to do is haze people, get drunk, and party, march at the parties. You know what I mean? So it really all depends on the chapter.
Right.
But in essence, I support them because many of our ancestors came through those channels and they used it for good.
What about, but see, here's Del, this is where I want to go. I want to take the conversation to a different spot. Because you're sounding like you're passionate and you care about fraternities.
Yeah.
But I did see that you've been having this conversation about hip hop, and it's where it has not did anything in 50 years.
So are you considering hip hop a fraternity?
I'm considering hip hop. Well, I want to explore this conversation.
Okay.
I want to explore the fraternity and hip hop.
Because if they are a fraternity, who are their founders? And who do they pay dues to?
Well, see, here we go. This is where it gets interesting. Help me understand. If you're
dribbling the ball behind your back, passing it off to Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
He's gonna alley-oop to Moses Malone.
Okay, go
Moses
ahead.
Malone gonna do a step pass to Beyonce. Beyonce gonna do a double dip back dunk to Michael Jackson. He's gonna roll it over to Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks gonna take it to Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings gonna take.
So help me, listen, help me understand. No. Help me understand. Let's bring it back. Help me understand. You're giving promises. Kamala is giving promises.
To children who graduate from the school. That's completely different from being the president of the United States of America.
See, you keep giving me job titles. I'm talking about intentions. I don't care about job titles.
Okay.
You're telling me that you just told me 5 minutes ago, I have a certain barometer because of my ancestors. I'm obligated to stand out on the hill and get these institutions done. Right? You just told me that. Then the next sentence.
I love the AKAs. Lord knows I love some 5-5 thicker than 5 deltas. But what the hell they got to do with policy for Black America?
Yeah, I didn't like that. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like that.
It was empty symbolism.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Empty symbolism.
I did not like
On the day Dr. King, a member of the Alpha Phi Alphas, Negro, please.
Yeah, I didn't like
I bet you Dr. King was in his grave, said, Negro, please.
Yeah. I didn't like that.
I love the Divine Nine.
Yeah.
But don't feed us a symbol. And to that point, I got to throw this at the Divine Nine. Y'all raised $30 million in one night. And all of them come from Black communities without a single decent school, without a single decent hospital, without a single bank that will invest in our businesses, without a single decent place for our mothers to get food to feed their children. Look at what we did just for her to run. Just for her to run. You don't get the money back. 30 million in a night. That's at least 5 schools right there. So we got the money. We just don't care enough to invest in the future of our children.
Did you ever, were you ever gonna join?
I was gonna join Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated Harrisburg grad chapter because we didn't have no Qs at Millersville University in Lancaster. And somebody hated on me and sent my information to the wrong address. So when I showed up for the first night, Mad Dog from Temple University told me since I didn't have on a shirt and a tie, I couldn't come in. And it wasn't meant.
Right.
It wasn't meant.
Did you, I mean, what's your feeling about fraternities? And
everything's neutral. It's how you use it. Dr. King was Alpha Phi Alpha. Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad was Omega Psi Phi. Major Dr. Martin Robinson Delaney, grandfather Pan-Africanism, he was a Mason. Prince Hall, another Pan-Africanist, he was a Mason. So it's all neutral. It's what you do with it. In other words, at TSU, the fraternities might actually be, sororities might actually be into community service. They might actually be into stop the violence. They might actually be into growing Black businesses. I might go down the road to FIST and it might just be a party happy situation.
Right.
It all depends where you are. The fraternities and sororities are too diverse to judge an entire organization because there's just too much variety amongst them. I speak in colleges all the time. I'm impressed with some of the stuff that they're doing at certain places. In other places, I'm like, they need to shut this chapter down because all y'all want to do is haze people, get drunk, and party, march at the parties. You know what I mean? So it really all depends on the chapter.
Right.
But in essence, I support them because many of our ancestors came through those channels and they used it for good.
what about, but see, here's now, this is where I want to go. I want to take the conversation to a different spot. Because you're sounding like you're passionate and you care about fraternities.
Yeah.
But I did see that you've been having this conversation about hip hop, and it's where it has not did anything in 50 years.
So are you considering hip hop a fraternity?
I'm considering hip hop. Well, I want to explore this conversation.
Okay.
I want to explore the fraternity and hip hop.
Because if they are a fraternity, who are their founders? And who do they pay dues to?
Well, see, here we go. This is where it gets interesting.
Them same people that own LeBron. Keep going.
See? All right. But do you acknowledge that fraternities and hip hop are somewhat parallel?
How?
No?
How? Tell me.
The sense of belonging to something. There's more.
The fraternities and sororities are much more structured. More structured.
I would disagree with that. Tell me why you think they're much more structured. You just spoke about the hazing. You just spoke about some of the.
And you can get your chapter snatched. You can go to jail if you get caught doing that stuff.
You can go to jail for doing some of the stuff the rappers do.
Okay, look at the principles that the fraternities and the sororities stand for. This is their.
But you just spoke about variety, and so I would say hip hop has
variety
the same
in
variety.
activity. There's no variety in the principles that they stand for. What are the principles that hip hop stand on again?
Depends on who you're speaking with.
Why is it different? Because whether I go to this chapter of Deltas or that
That's
chapter
not
of
true.
Deltas,
That's
or
not
that-
true.
Yes, it is.
That's not true because some of them don't view hazing in the way that
No,
others
you're talking
view
about
hazing.
hazing. You're talking about an activity. I'm talking about the principles.
Well,
that the
okay,
organization-
but so how does the principles relate to the activities?
Well, you got to speak to them directly. I don't want to.
So in hip hop, the principles could be, we don't want to see killing. There could be people that have those.
When
principles.
was that a principle?
There's several people right now that have those.
No. When was that a principle for the genre? I didn't say individuals.
Again,
When did
there's
hip hop
there's a conscious hip hop. There is a conscious hip hop.
There is, but when did hip hop overall?
We're speaking about variety.
No. Because see, now you keep flipping back.
Yeah.
On me. No. When did hip hop ever put forth a code of conduct?
Never.
So what the hell are we talking about?
I don't believe that exempts them though. I don't believe that exempts or stops the conversation between the parallels of fraternities and hip hop.
I don't think there's a parallel. There's too much structure in fraternities and sororities to be compared with hip hop, where people do whatever they want, whenever they want, and the only person they got to answer to is the law. In fraternities and sororities, you have to answer to the hierarchy and the leadership. There is no leadership in hip hop. You ain't got to go have a conversation with Russell Simmons if you did some bad shit.
You just told me though that people come out of hip hop are controlled. So there are leadership, it just may not be black leadership.
Absolutely. Crackers run their ass.
Yeah.
That's my point.
All right. So, but in your opinion, you respect fraternities and hip hop has done nothing for black people.
Nothing relevant that I've seen. Is there an institution they've given us in 50 years? Anybody know? Have they built a school?
Fraternities built a school?
You're comparing fraternities to hip hop.
Yes.
The counter argument could be that fraternities have given us some of the best minds we've ever had.
What do you think about the mind of Jay-Z?
Okay, so let's go. Alpha Phi Alpha gave us Dr. King, and hip hop gave us Jay-Z. Are we really going to sit here and compare Sean Carter to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.?
Not in current time, maybe. I mean, we have
I don't give a damn
lot
what
of respect.
time. Voting Rights Act, Civil Rights Bill,
I don't know, bro.
Federal Housing Act. Are you serious? What law is Sean Carter responsible for again?
He's been a part of a few laws
What
being
law?
changed, reform as it pertains to.
What law did Sean Carter get us?
I'm gonna speak about the reform initiative.
Give me the name of a law that he fought for and got passed.
Meek Mill just got it passed on behalf of.
I didn't ask you about Meek.
Meek is working on behalf of Jay.
I didn't ask you about that.
Meek is working on.
Okay,
Listen,
and when are they giving us a law?
There's a reform alliance. So you have Michael Rubin, Wallow, Meek Mill, Jay-Z,
Did
all
you hear
these
that?
people.
Michael Rubin.
He don't like Rubin. I guess it's fair to say that.
First of all, no parasite is going to participate in any kind of insight for the black community. All Caucasians in the music industry are parasites. They feed
Everyone.
everyone. They feed off the low consciousness of the black community and they exploit it for profit right in front of our faces. And what hurts me to heaven is the fact that they would never let their own Jewish children promote the type of filth they finance our kids to promote.
I believe that. I truly believe that. Do you, but let's get back to Jay-Z. You don't think...
I like Jay-Z.
In 100 years, how do you think Jay-Z is viewed amongst black people?
One of the great rappers. I don't really see
Great
him.
rappers? Businessmen, entrepreneur?
That too. But you had a lot of businessmen who are coons. Oprah is a...
You're not suggesting Jay is a coon?
He has some tendencies. I mean, he's no activist out here in these streets.
No, he's not an activist.
I mean, he's paid to get activists out of jail. I appreciate that. He's paid for documentaries of people who've gotten murdered by the police. I appreciate that. But outside of that, media stuff, and of course paying for them to get out of jail, but what institution? You're a billionaire. Billionaires need to build institutions. There's no getting around that for me. What institution is Jay-Z
building? If this is the
building?
playbook, why are you the only one with it?
It takes dedication. It takes commitment to your people. It ain't easy to do it. This is a 10-year effort. We took 5 years to raise the money, 5 years to get the school built. When you say you're going to put an institution out there, that's tremendous sacrifice of time, energy, money, everything, bro. I live mine, so I can do it. They don't live that.
What do you say
Why do you think so many of them got charter schools? Why is a billionaire with a charter school? Why do you need a welfare check from the government to run a school for kids in your neighborhood? Because you don't care enough to put your own money out there. That's why.
What do you say to...
They're not serious.
What do you say to the person that was 15 when you started to take donations for the school and they're 25 now?
What do you mean what I say, John?
And they have some questions about where's the school, what's going on with the school. I really wanted to see the school happen. What do you say to those people?
They will see the school happen and they will be able to participate in the manhood programs that we have for their age group so they won't lose out.
So what makes you different than the politician?
What the, huh?
Okay, so you listen, you say,
I live everything I talk, bro.
Right, and I know you, so I know what's going on.
Right.
But for the sake of conversation,
put the school to the side. If I never opened up a school, no psychologist in American
history. We can't
history,
put the school to the side.
No, but stay, listen to what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
Because and the school is coming, so I don't mind if they want to judge me by it. That's
right.
fine. But I'm saying in a real fair analysis, if I never even endeavored to open up a school, look at how I've transformed forever the way black parents do business with the school system or the mental health system. No black psychologist has ever come along and done what I've done for the black community as it relates to protecting our children. None of them. And Amos Wilson is the greatest of all time. Even he didn't lay down what I laid down for the black community. When a black mother walks into the school now, she know her rights. She know what to say, what not to say. She know the diagnosis. She know the process. She know the IEP. She knows it. What other psychologists have ever given our parents free consultation to help them save their kids? Nobody has saved more black boys from the school to prison pipeline than Dr. Umar Ifatunde in American history. If I never opened up a school,
why is that even an option to say?
What you mean?
If I never open up a school when you've been campaigning about the school for so long?
Because some people want to reduce you to that which has not yet manifested. So sometimes it becomes necessary for me to shine a light on all the other things that I have done. Look at all the black children and corner boys I've gotten off the corner. Look at how many young people changed their life around after I visited their prison, after I visited their halfway house, after I visited their jail. Most of the work I've done can't properly be documented because it's done in a mental health context where you ain't allowed to necessarily talk about it because it's all private, right? It's all under HIPAA law or FERPA law, but the work is there. The work is there. When history is written of the 21st century and they talk about education and mental health, if I'm not in that conversation, it's not the real history. I don't say that to brag. I just say I ain't been sitting around working on a school these 25 years. I have transformed the way we think and the way we behave about our children. And all I'm saying is some credit is due for that.
It definitely is, and I give it to you. You know, I think you're one of the most, I would give it up for that. You know, I always tell you one of the most brilliant people I've ever spoke with. My mother loves you. right? That's why you got
Mama
you here so
Loon,
much.
shout out.
Yeah, she loves you, bro. She loves you. But I think that the conversation could, for you to even be saying, I think that can come off concerning to donors or people who has been on this journey with you. Just the ideas like me, if I'm headed into a fight. Floyd Mayweather, imagine Floyd Mayweather saying, if I lose today.
That's not a good example.
Why not?
Because he's coonish.
No, I'm saying in the context.
He also stood with Israel against Gaza.
Yeah,
go ahead.
We're gonna get to that. But I'm saying in the context of a fight, with him being 50-0, all the people that's watching him, all the people that's invested in his career, thinking that he thinks I'm the best ever. I ain't gonna
What you're saying is if he gets knocked out at 50,
yes,
does that erase how great he was in the ring? Not for me.
Not for you, but the idea prior to him even being knocked out. If he's at a press conference entertaining the idea.
The only thing changes for me is he's retiring without a perfect record. Me personally, I want him to stop getting in the ring because I think one day they're going to catch him. Are y'all following me?
Yeah.
You're getting 2-0, one day they're going to catch you. You follow what I'm saying? Or the judge is going to rule against you. You see what I'm saying? Stop going in there. But that's who he is. He's a fighter, so I understand that. I'm an activist. I know what it means to get in there.
But if you're someone that's been betting with Floyd, like for lack of a better term, people been betting with you for the last 10 years, right? On the school thing. So if you someone been betting with Floyd in all these 50 fights, he's never showed an inch of confidence not being there. So he's always thought, I'm gonna knock the person out, or I'm gonna win. I'm gonna be the person, this is gonna happen. This is gonna be 51-0. I ain't undefeated. I'm not gonna lose. But then you hear him talk, and he says, well, even if I lose, man, it's okay to lose now. I done enough.
I would be okay with that.
But what about the donors hearing you saying that even if I don't open this school?
No. Don't take me saying even if I don't.
But that's why I want you to clarify for the people watching, because there are people. No.
They know.
There are people watching this in these views that's gonna say, why is he even entertaining the fact that the school may not be open?
Because you're bringing it up. That's the only reason why I'm entertaining. Me saying even if the school did not materialize is to shine a light on everything else I've done these 25 years of my career. That's it. The school is coming. Without question, the school is coming. That's one of the reasons why I don't pay a lot of attention to the negativity, because once the school comes, they'll find something else to pick on. If I'm going to respond to the hate, I'm going to be responding to it all my life. Once the school opens, they will latch on to something else. Are y'all following me? And then they will latch on to something else. This will never end, because this campaign against FDMG isn't born out of a sincere concern for the people. Nobody criticizing me has done anything for their community. None of them. So this can't be about the community because you've done nothing for it. This is about hate and jealousy that already the most popular Pan-Africanist of the 21st century, the most popular social activist probably in American history. I don't think you can name a person, maybe King, maybe Frederick Douglass, my ancestor, who was as popular as I am and also as uncompromising. I think I'm the first at this stage,
Me
right?
too.
So my point being is, why pay attention to the negative talk about a goal you have that you know you will achieve? Let your actions do your talking.
Is money worth more than a vote?
What do you mean?
If I would, is me donating to Kamala worth more than me voting for Kamala?
Yes, initially yes. Because money is what put candidates in a position to win. And this is why black people often can't control our candidates, because we don't finance them. If you're running for mayor of Nashville, the first question I'm gonna ask them, how much money are we gonna raise so Loon don't have to take no money from Caucasians? Because the minute he gotta take a dollar from a Caucasian, he's gonna have to compromise his position. Yes, money is more important than votes.
Okay, so again, let's.
That's why politicians always carry out the agenda of their donors.
Not the voters.
Not the voters.
Ooh, that's a
Show
good one.
me a politician who
That's
has
a good
ever turned his back on their major donors. Them top 5, they get whatever they want. Because you got to remember, when people give you millions, you know that they also have a mercenary army that can pay you back if you don't deliver. So you know not to play with Morgan Stanley, right? You know not to play with Chase Manhattan. You know you don't play with them. If they dropping $5 million on your presidential run, your gubernatorial run, your mayoral run, you got to deliver or you'll wake up deceased tomorrow. They'll call it a heart attack or something.
Yeah.
But they took your life.
So all right, so back to now that we've established that money is worth more than the vote.
Absolutely.
Back to the school and the donations.
Negro, here we go again.
Right, because this is, and the reason why I want to have this conversation with you is because I know you. So I know what you're doing. I believe in you. I know what you're doing.
Yes,
I've been
sir.
knowing you since 2018, so
Yes,
I
sir.
know what you're doing. But I know that there's doubt creeping into people that are on
Not
the
the
fence.
donors.
Right.
Because if doubt was creeping into my donors, right? Now, mind you, we record every donation. Every donation we received since 2014 is recorded. Nearly, I'm going to say 90% of our donors are repeat donors. There's few people in that book who only donated one time. They've been with me the whole ride. So when you're talking about the pushback and the doubt creeping in, it ain't from the people who matter. It's from the people who don't donate and don't matter. Give me the name of a repeat donor who's starting to feel doubtful about the school. I got elders, I got lawyers, I got doctors, I got corner boys, I got donors from every walk of life, not even to mention the international African community. London, Africa, Jamaica, Brazil, it come from everywhere. Show me where the doubt is creeping in that.
But see, I would say using context clues that, all right, 10 years or however long it's been, I would say that has to be some people that gave some money at some point that's saying, all right.
There might be, but they're not the majority.
Would you say that you've mismanaged donations in any way?
Absolutely not. We was audited by the IRS year before last, my brother.
Audited?
Yes, because of the YouTubian struggle streamers. They wrote letters to the governor of Delaware, the governor of PA, the Attorney General of Delaware, the Attorney General of DA. They wrote letters to the FBI, the IRS, and they interviewed us the year before last. Now, mind you, Black Lives Matter raised what? $100 million? I don't think they ever got audited. We never broke $1 million. We got audited the year before last, and we had to show them everything. The man was
You ain't broke $1 million?
Nah. Close to it, but we ain't broke $1 million, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because remember, black people
That's not
give me what they
fine.
got.
10 years, that's not fine. When you first came in, you said, you're giving me 20, but you got 40.
Right.
You're giving me
But here's
50,
the thing,
but
though.
you got
Here's the
100.
thing. I'm cool with it because all of our major grassroots organizations were built on the pennies of black people. I'm cool with it. For me, it ain't the quantity, it's the quality of seeing that $10 check from grandma on fixed income every month without fail. Seeing that $100 check from that school teacher who got 3 children every month without fail. You see what I'm saying? That's what means something to me. I got college students who hit that Cash App for $10. They barely making it on campus, but they believe in my dream.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm not just doing this for me, I'm doing it for the people. I know how much our people are psychologically invested in this school. I gotta deliver for them.
Right, and because they're waiting, and that's why I want to have a conversation. Cause I know there's people that believe in you, and I believe in you, and there's people that I have conversation with, powerful people, right? That maybe won't come to you about it, but they'll have a conversation about, kind of what's going on. So I'm like, let's just kind of iron out a few more things. Now let me ask you this: does the tax code favor donations?
What you mean?
Does it put you in a position to keep most of it and actually put it towards the school, or
I'm unpaid.
No, I'm not talking about what you take. I'm saying the tax part. Like, is there a tax on it from the government?
No, you're non-tax.
Okay,
you're non-profit.
Okay.
You just got to report everything.
Okay.
But I'm unpaid.
Right.
I could pay myself, right? Why would I want to do that?
You good though. You one of them guys, man.
No, I ain't. But
yes. Don't
I ain't
try
gonna-
that.
I ain't gonna-
Yeah,
you taking
see, I
away.
ain't trying to-
But you know, that's how most multinational donation organizations work. Y'all know that. Remember all that money Michael Jackson gave to Africa? Remember that tour? Mike gave every dollar to AIDS. Remember that? Africa never saw that. You know why? Because legally, you can pay all your staff from the donations first. You can take care of all your bills for your organization, and what's left go to Africa. The whole nonprofit world is a scam for rich people to recycle their wealth right back to themselves and their crew. It's a scam.
And you said that's not something you're willing to do.
No. I'm not paying myself. Now, when the school opened, I may pay myself a salary as principal, but even then, I'm going to try to do my best not to take a cent.
Have you, God forbid, and hopefully this never comes up, but have you thought about like school shootings?
Of course, security. We got a security plan, and we're going to have to keep on updating it as time goes on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're going to be ready.
I seen where the last school shooting that took place, they went and charged the mother and the father because the kid had access to the guns.
And that was correct.
You believe that to be the correct thing?
Yeah, guns should be locked up in the house if you got children. Stop being sloppy, man. Guns take lives. And these guns now, they powerful. Like, they powerful. So yeah.
I seen also where someone was using your name. FDMG, was like a website.
Yeah, it is a fake website. If y'all don't know about it, FDMGA, they put an A on it. FDMGA.com, based in Atlanta. And guess what? My assistant just showed me I got a letter in the mail from the Department of Charitable Organizations for the state of Georgia. So I suspect they think that's mine. You feel me? And I think they're saying I'm not properly registered. That ain't even me.
Wow.
So when I get home, I got to take care of
Yeah,
that.
because I was like, yo, they using your name, Frederick Douglass.
Man, look at all the fake Cash Apps, bro. Have you seen all the,
Nah.
for those of y'all who donate, y'all see, it's like 20 fake Cash Apps, 20 fake PayPals, 20 fake Instagrams, 20 fake Facebooks. I mean, my thing is, how you got this much time? Damn. I got about a dozen YouTubian struggle streamers who are dedicated to my downfall, right? 4 of them are super stalkers. Y'all know what I'm talking about. In fact, it's interesting because their initials all add up to the word lame. L-A-M-M, lame ass ninjas. One got an L, one got an A, one got an M, one got an E. I call them lame. And they make a video on me damn near every day, bro.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
What kind of a man? I want to meet their wives. What woman lets their man obsess over another man like that and stay with him?
Right.
If my woman obsessed like that over another woman or another man, this relationship is over. You giving them more energy than you giving me. What is this?
And I see it too. I be like, why do they? It's every day, bro.
I
mean, they'll go get some shit from 2010.
What color socks did he wear?
Yeah.
What kind of smoothie was that?
You ain't liking
Crazy,
that.
man.
What's your feelings about nepotism, like with Bronny James and LeBron?
It was nepotism, but I didn't have a problem with it. You want to know why? White privilege is nepotism. How you going to criticize a black man who built your league up, kept it running after Mike, after Kobe, LeBron, put it on his back, kept the NBA at a multi-million-dollar revenue, and he says, I want my son on my team. Look at all the nepotism y'all get. Look at all the owners who shouldn't be owners. Look at all the coaches who shouldn't be coaches. Look at all the GMs who shouldn't be GMs. You talk about some nepotism. Look what happened with Ime Udoka 2 seasons ago with the Boston Celtics when he cheated on one of the white men in the hierarchy's wife, which was wrong. He had no business doing that, whether she was white or not. And they exposed Ime Udoka. We never even heard the name of the white woman who voluntarily cheated with him. You talk about some nepotism. Look at that. She didn't lose her job, but he lost his. You know, so for me, I don't have a problem with a black man flexing his might as LeBron did, because he don't do it often, obviously, because he's controlled by them. But he flexed his muscle enough to get his son on a team, and I support it. I have no problem with a black person using their quote-unquote black privilege whenever they get a little bit.
I think that the hip hop community kind of had a reaction towards it. And what I was disappointed in is that hip hop or rap culture didn't have that same pushback on Elliot Grange, which is the person that's over Universal.
Okay.
If you've been noticing, the music industry has been changing at a rapid pace.
Okay.
And the reason is because he put his son at the head of all of the major labels. There's been people groomed for this job for 20 years.
They always do, right.
Dog, it's been people being groomed for this position for 20 years. And he plucked his son, who been running a company called 10K. His last couple of signees were Ice Spice, Trippie Redd, cool acts, but not platinum plus acts. He didn't necessarily deserve the CEO position at the most powerful label in the world. And nobody in hip hop said nothing. And they know this because they work for him.
Can I give you another one?
Go ahead.
When I said Eminem has no business being considered the GOAT of hip hop, every major icon in the hip hop industry took Eminem's defense against Dr. Umar. But what happened a couple weeks ago? At the Country Music Awards, Beyoncé Knowles and Cowboy Carter, which was the #1 country music album in this year, broke at least 8 different records. Every song on the album charted on the Country Music Top 100. Beyoncé wasn't nominated for a single award. No white person said nothing. No black person said nothing. How in the hell do you come to the defense of Eminem when I say he can't be the GOAT and not a Negro said a word about Beyoncé being completely shafted from the CMAs?
That's some crazy work. That is crazy. What do you feel about Beyoncé? Is that her trying to flex her black privilege? Do you think she's interested in country music, or is she actually taking her status and trying to wipe out everything down, every
Ain't that
jump?
what white folks do? Last time I checked, Father Rockefeller said competition is a sin. You dominate and you monopolize as much as you can. Beyonce didn't do nothing wrong. When white artists make headway into R&B, we don't say nothing. When they make headway into rap, we don't say
Justin
nothing.
Bieber.
Absolutely. So what's wrong with Beyonce going into country music, which is a genre of music that was created by Africans on the plantations of the United States of America? We created country music, not them devils. So she had every right to be in country music.
Ain't it interesting how we'll accept Justin Bieber and
they won't accept
they
Beyonce.
won't accept Beyonce?
Because
And
every
Beyonce
every culture gatekeeps except ours. We don't gatekeep nothing. We don't gatekeep black food. We don't gatekeep black music. We don't gatekeep black spirituality. You got white people now being voodoo priests. How in the hell can a cracker be a voodoo priest? See that? What do we gatekeep? You can go to a jazz concert and not a single black person on the ensemble. How is that possible? You got white drummers now. I was at an event not too long ago. Every African drummer was a Caucasian. We don't gatekeep. I'm not mad at white people for gatekeeping. We should be doing the same damn thing.
Let's talk about Diddy. I think this is where we get to some of the interesting conversation. For people who do not know, Sean P. Diddy Combs has been arrested on sex trafficking amongst other charges, racketeering. He's been involved with one of his exes, Cassie Ventura, who filed a lawsuit, and it led into a federal investigation which deemed him responsible for things that they have him arrested for. I don't know if he's guilty or innocent. There's a lot of evidence that they point to. I haven't seen much. I did see a video, but he has been denied bond twice. What is your feelings about Sean P. Diddy Combs?
Vince McMahon of the WWE has been accused of sex crimes as egregious as Sean Combs, probably worse, has yet to be arrested. Donald Trump was found guilty in court last year or this year of having committed rape against a woman, and black people still want to make him president of the United States. So for Negroes, my first question would be, where's all this selective morality coming from? Why is it that one man must be destroyed for sex abuse, but you don't mind voting for another one to be your next president? So we need to check ourselves. That's number one. Now, with that being said, I don't condone sex abuse against women. What Sean Combs did to, what's her name, Ventura? Cassie in that hallway was egregious, unbecoming of a man, completely unacceptable. And if he were charged for that crime, I would probably agree that he needs to suffer some sort of sentence for it. But guess what? She settled out of court. She took $30 million back to her snow puppy, and she's living her life, okay? It wasn't right. But guess what? She ain't making no more fuss about it. She took money on that. And mind you, 2 days after that stomp out from Puff, she was on the red carpet with him at an award show. So how much of a problem was it really for you? I'm not condoning domestic abuse. But what I am looking at is a greater picture here where black men, when they're guilty of the same crimes as white men, are hung out to dry, whereas we don't see the same thing with white males. Look at Garth Brooks. Isn't he based here?
Yeah.
Garth Brooks just got accused of sex
seen
assault.
that.
You hear almost nothing about it. Why? Because the media is keeping you focused on Diddy. Look at all the children who were raped by the Roman Catholic Church, but instead they're going to worry about R. Kelly. Look at Harvey Weinstein, but instead we're going to worry about R. Kelly. I don't have a problem with Puffy Combs being held accountable for crimes against women. I don't condone it at all. But don't make him the scapegoat for an entire system that the government itself participates in and upholds. That's my issue. Don't make R. Kelly the entire face and the scapegoat of child pedophilia when you got 30,000 Roman Catholic priests who ain't never been held accountable for raping kids much younger than them girls R. Kelly was making music with. What I'm saying, get all the pedophiles, get all the sex traffickers. Don't make my people the scapegoat for it. And we, as black people, better learn to stop publicly condemning our own.
I was just going to talk about
When that Mexican murdered, unalived that sister, you ain't hear no Mexican people get all on the internet and say he need to be hung out to dry. When white people do other people wrong, they don't publicly condemn. Black people better stop doing that, because what they're doing is they're using our self-hate and this need to feast on the failure of each other as a way to publicly crucify us. So by the time black people get done publicly exterminating this person's image, whatever we do to them, nobody else will care.
Right.
We got to stop doing that.
And
I believe in due process, and this is what I said. So Puffy, his federal indictment got 3 counts. Count 1, racketeering. I don't know if he's guilty or not. Count 2, interstate sex trafficking.
And I want to talk about that.
have a hard time believing.
Yes.
I have a hard time believing that Sean Combs has to force, steal, and kidnap women across state lines to engage in sex with the money he has.
Yes.
I'm not saying he's innocent. I don't know. But I'm having a hard time believing.
Right.
Now, the third count, I think he might be guilty. The third count is interstate prostitution, paying for sex.
Now, what's the difference between count 2 and 3?
Sex trafficking, the woman is being held against her will, is bondage. Sex trafficking is sexual slavery.
Would you say that video? Because what I think they're doing is trying to use that video.
What video?
When he ran down the stairs and grabbed it and assaulted her. Cassie,
that
right.
was his woman, though.
But still, that what they're saying is that in this video, what we're viewing is someone trying to escape a quote-unquote freak-off. And so what you're seeing is someone running
so why was
from
she at the red carpet with him the next day? Then?
Exactly. But this is what you know they say Stockholm syndrome. But what I'm saying is,
I see
this how they playing it.
That's a tough sell.
This how the feds are playing it. So what they're saying is that video that we have is her attempting to leave a freak off. Now this is where they get him. Her attempting to leave a freak off. He runs out and grabs her and hit her, beat her, and bring her back in there. In her words, to continue to freak off.
I was never told that was a freak off. I was told they were just staying in a hotel together.
Here's the thing, though. Yeah, of
and
course.
even if it is, that's only one incident. It's going to be difficult for them to convict him off of something that happened 7-8 years ago that's not even a part of the federal indictment.
I think he shouldn't have, number one, I think he shouldn't have never agreed that was him on that video. I mean, it's clear as day.
Well, you could tell it was him.
Yeah, but still, we're in the age of AI.
That wasn't the big mistake. The big mistake was not Puff admitting to that being him on the video and issuing the apology. You know what the biggest mistake was for Puff?
What?
Agreeing to pay her in less than 24 hours. When he agreed to pay Cassie in less than 24 hours, the white power structure smelled blood. And Diageo, the liquor company that he sued, when they saw that he was that quick to cover up Cassie, knowing he must have more skeletons, that's when they picked up the phone, they called King Charles. King Charles called whoever his connect is in the U.S. government, and his house was raided within a few weeks after he settled with Diageo. Diageo is who brought Puffy down. They're one of the biggest liquor companies in the world.
Yeah.
Puffy sued them for racism and advertising. He said that you keep on marketing my brand as an urban liquor. This is not urban liquor. Anybody can drink this. Puffy thought that they was putting him in a corner so it wouldn't affect the sales of their other brands, so he sued them. Diageo tried to get the lawsuit thrown out, and the judge sided with Puff, and it continued. And they started losing money, they started losing influence, and you know we spend more money on alcohol than any other group. They couldn't afford that, so Puffy brought them to their knees. Puffy made Diageo settle out of court. They wouldn't even go to trial. He made, and guess what? He basically embarrassed them, and they said, we're gonna get his ass back. We're gonna show, and remind you, they are a British-based company. You talking about that white Anglo-Saxon energy, you feel me? They said, we're gonna show him. You don't ever challenge us like that. And within a few weeks after they settled, they raided his home.
You know, last time I seen Diddy.
And let me not also leave out the fact that Puffy's arrest was also a distraction from the fact that one of the main reasons that the port workers were going to strike or are going to strike is because they said that they were tired of hearing children banging on the shipping containers at the docks. Did y'all hear what I just said? They said they can hear the sex traffic victims inside the containers, y'all. And they tired of being forced to act like they don't know is human beings in these canisters and not merchandise. So they had to lock up Puff and make him the scapegoat for sex trafficking when you got a whole industry that's about to boycott because they're getting sick and tired of children being transported on the docks.
Damn, I never heard that.
Yes.
Where is this at?
It's on the internet.
Yeah, I need to check into that.
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yes.
Now, but let's go back to that video. You don't think him acknowledging that video played into this at all?
He didn't have to acknowledge it. Everybody could see it was Puff.
Yeah, but
his biggest mistake was giving her $30 million in less than 24 hours. He should have let it ride a little bit and then maybe.
Well, the more you let it ride, well, it came out anyway. So it was coming out anyway.
It showed that he was too desperate to keep his demons sealed up. Now you see what they got. They got 120 people. That white man, thirsty lawyer. 120 people talking about, now some of them they didn't already exposed. One girl just got exposed trying to get her brother to co-sign the story.
Give him $3
so
million.
Anybody who's been around Puffy alone, they're gonna try to hit him for the cash.
They done opened him up. Now, do you think financially he's at risk?
Of course. Because the purpose of the indictments in the trials is to liquidate your wealth through lawyer fees. This is how they tried to get Bill Cosby. This is how they got R. Kelly. This is how they want to get Diddy. You imagine what his lawyers are probably charging him. He probably got a 5 team of lawyers. They probably $1,000 an hour. You know they bill it for time that they're not even working. This is how you get rich blacks. You liquidate them through the court fees.
And then also another trick is the volume of lawsuits in the districts. So they're also playing a very strategic game where 30 lawsuits in New York, 30 in Miami, 30 in, so they got 120 different.
And let us not lose in all of this the Willie Lynch symbolism. What did Willie Lynch tell the slave owners in Richmond, Virginia in the 1700s? The way you control your slaves is to get the biggest, brightest one, break him down in front of his people till he's nothing. So all the rest of them know not to get out of line. Remember, Puffy started that Our Black Party. Remember that? Our Black Party. One of the reasons he was raided in March is they wanted to make sure his political voice wasn't heard at the RNC or the Democratic National Convention. They needed Puffy muted. They couldn't afford for Puff to be talking about black people doing exactly what Dr. Umar been talking about, unite your votes and don't give it to either party without some serious promises. They couldn't afford that. He had to be taken out of the political conversation early, so he couldn't weigh in on this. And this is why they raided him back in March. And this is why he's arrested right now. So he has no influence over the presidential election.
And I got a lot of respect for your mental. And it's something is funny for me that you're just throwing off the fact that he came out and apologized for that video.
No.
I don't understand that. To me, that was a mistake.
You saw it with him. Who didn't see it?
Yeah, but it's the age we're in. I know you're saying that, but his voice saying, I'm sorry, my behavior, I just think that...
What else was he going to do? Not apologize?
No, you don't say nothing. You don't say nothing. You stay quiet. Your lawyers give them room to say, validate that video.
I'm with you on that.
Number one, validate that. Where did that come from?
I don't think you lie and say it's not
right.
true.
You don't say nothing.
But you do stay quiet.
Yes.
You do stay quiet. He did not need to speak on it at that time.
Yes.
Especially knowing you had far more skeletons in that closet. Yes, I agree with you. Yes. Knowing how much is coming out now, he would have been best to keep silent and issue an apology when it's completely
And then
over.
his lawyer could have at least went in there and said, well, Your Honor, we haven't validated that video. We don't know the origins. We don't know if it's been tampered with. We don't know nothing.
Nobody's going to convince me that Sean Puffy Combs' lawyers ain't working for the government.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about that. That's a good one.
Nobody's going to convince me. They took down Puffy because even though Jay-Z may be the richest at this point and the most powerful, Puffy has been the longest reigning king of hip-hop. He was big when Jay-Z was just getting started. You feel me? So they needed to shame Puff to tell all the other rappers, don't you try to get political in these streets. Don't you ever think you're going to sue a big-time mega company like Diageo. Puffy is an example to every black person in entertainment that we are white and we still run this.
Let's deal with the lawyer side, because to me, when I look at the lawyer, I said, damn, it doesn't come off genuine. I'm wondering if he told Diddy that he was having one-way communication with the government, right? I'm believing Diddy was under the impression that I'm gonna get a bond. So he took $15 million, paid his house off. He was doing certain things because his lawyer told him, listen, stay away from your jet, pay your house off. We're gonna put the $50 million house up. And what was happening behind the scenes, nobody knew, was his lawyer was contacting the government, but they never was responding. So he would tell them, hey, Sean Combs is traveling to Tennessee today. He'll be there for 2 days, just in case you guys wanted to know. Hey, Sean Combs is not gonna be by his plane, you know, and this and that, so.
One thing we gotta recognize and keep in mind, brothers and sisters, there's certain types of crimes nobody wants to be associated with. Even if you're innocent, no one wants to be associated with. Some of y'all know I was down in Florida last month or the month before because the young brother Brendan Depper, the big dark-skinned 18-year-old black brother, beat the white teacher's aide who took his Nintendo Switch. Y'all remember that?
I remember that.
Well, Brendan Depper's mother told me, allegedly, she reached out to Ben Crump, who's based in Florida, to help exonerate her son because he's adopted. Ben Crump wouldn't help her. This is what the white woman told me. It's because Ben Crump didn't want to be associated with, I assume, a domestic abuse assault of a big black man hitting a white woman. It's not good for his business.
Right.
Are you following me? So one of the things that the white power structure is doing to bring down our greatest, our most successful, not greatest, but most successful, most prominent, whatever the case may be, is charge them with crimes that most black people consider to be so despicable that we'll just cancel them and move on and not even worry about the details.
Shut them all up.
The reason Dr. Umar is still going to worry about the details is because if they try to do that to you, if they try to do that to me, if they try to do that to one of y'all, we don't have Puffy's money. We can't afford that kind of a defense. So as black people, even though we disagree with Puff, we all got issues with Puff. At the same time, we're going to make sure the courts provide him with his constitutional right to due process. We are not going to send them a message that says we don't care what you do with him because we're through with him. Because if we convict him in the public eye, we're doing exactly what the judicial system has done to black men for 400 years. Convict them in the public eye and lynch them from jail before they even had their day in court. And that's why when I see people say, well, Dr. Umar, you taking up for Puffy. Look at what he did. I'm not taking up for Puffy. I'm taking up for the right of black people to get a fair trial before a jury of their peers and be convicted the right way, not off of YouTube videos. We got to be very careful about getting too emotional about these kind of topics, because that's exactly what they want you to do. And Puffy not getting any bail, that was complete racism. That was to humiliate him.
You think he deserves
that
bail?
was to shame them. That was also to be able to put their hands on him if he runs his mouth. And most of all, that was to make sure Puffy couldn't get the real story out to us before they got him. Puffy was kept behind bars so he couldn't tell the truth on his own terms.
So you think he deserves a bail?
Why not? They give him bail to... Vince McMahon ain't even went to jail. Why not?
Yeah. I mean,
until he's been proven guilty. I ain't seen an ounce of evidence on sex trafficking. Prostitution.
And you did, let's get to that, because you said the prostitution one you believe. What's, first of all...
Because of the freak offs. And some people say you go there, they might pay you. I'm not saying he's guilty of prostitution. I'm saying that seems to be the easiest.
What's your feelings on prostitution?
I don't support prostitution.
Right.
But
so,
it is the oldest female profession on the planet Earth. It's discussed in the Bible. I don't agree with it, but it's the oldest female profession on the planet Earth.
Wow. So you believe him to be, do you think they're overreaching with these charges? Like, I mean, a wealthy man, I'm gonna have money involved in my interactions with women. That's just how we go. I mean, I may not give them no money.
You gotta remember something. There's talk that R. Kelly might get out. It don't matter. He's already been disgraced. The issue here is not whether Puffy goes to jail. The issue here is to disgrace him so much that nobody would go anywhere near him after he gets out. It's the disgracing of the black man that's most important. Because you can go to jail, serve 5 years, come back and go right back on top. They need him to be disgraced completely.
Do you think he'll beat the charges?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Do you think they'll add more charges with the 120?
I can see more charges coming. You know, the feds have what? A 90% conviction rate?
Right.
I don't see, it's going to be difficult for Puffy not to do any time. You feel me?
Right.
I think they could get him on that prostitution. The racketeering, I don't know. But again, because this is a white power structure takedown, I don't see him getting out of there without doing some kind of time.
And the freak off thing, right? So here's the details from the video. They said, man, if you paid attention to the video, Diddy had socks on. So, because first people was saying that he was in the shower, because you know he had a towel on. That's why they're saying that he was naked in there. They was literally freaking in there, right? He had socks. You can't be in the shower with your socks on and you're butt naked. That's why you got the towel. So are you walking around the room butt naked and she snuck out? Like,
I'm not getting that deep into Puffy's towel and socks.
But what I'm saying
is a little bit too much perspiration.
No, but what I'm saying is that they're framing that one video and they're calling that what was the charge you said it was?
Sex trafficking.
Yes. So against her will. Right? So they're saying he grabbed him and threw her back in there, but I believe Diddy to do some time as well. I don't think he gets out scot-free.
And the freak off thing to me, bro, that has been overplayed too many times. That's what they do in that industry. All of them do it. Hugh Hefner had a living freak off. Hugh Hefner allegedly had underage women in the Playboy Mansion. He never got accused of dirt. Here we go again with this selective morality again. White men did exactly what Puff did, and ain't nothing.
But he didn't travel with people.
Who didn't?
They say Hefner had everybody in Vegas.
Yes, he did.
He traveled?
Yes, he did. And he ain't the only one. They all did it. They all did it.
Yeah, because when I heard, I was looking into that, and I was like,
look at all the people who was on the Jerry Epstein plane. Donald Trump allegedly was on that. Hillary and Billary was allegedly on that. They said Barack Obama allegedly was on the Epstein plane. Come on, y'all. Are we trying to stop sex trafficking, or are we just trying to shame a black mogul because he stood up to a white power company?
But here's also something I find interesting. I think the mainstream media is doing a little trick. And I kind of hear you allude to it as well, where it's like, that's a hip hop thing. That's what they do. And it's like, I don't think that's a hip hop thing.
Me either, but I'm glad you brought that up. Did you hear that lawyer who's representing the 120 victims say, we're going after the participants in the freak offs? Now, I want to see how this goes. You want to know why? Because it wasn't all black people at them freak offs. And if you start digging into holes, you're going to pull a lot of crackers out them holes. Are y'all following me?
Yeah.
So I want to see how far. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. I think the white power structure going to pull that lawyer's cord and say you're going to stop with Diddy or stop with the inner circle. Because if you keep on going.
You're going to get the liquor. He said he want the liquor. Here's the trick, right? So Diddy threw these massive parties.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Ciroc. So what happens is people are going to allege that that at a Ciroc sponsored party and some stuff happened and it's going to go back to that company that
Here's what I think.
Diageo or whatever the
Right.
name
There's too many power players and too many power companies involved in the entire spider web of Hollywood and music industry sex trafficking. They cannot afford that lawyer to unravel all of those chains. Are y'all following me? So either he going to get his collar pulled or they going to take his life. You're not bringing that. You're not. What's the guy who brought Puffy into?
Clyde Davis.
You're not bringing Clive Davis down. You can forget it. You can forget it. It ain't. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're going to give him a ring and a limit, and that's going to be.
He
it.
was talking about the places they threw the parties, the people that financed.
This is how you know if they serious or not. Let's see if they get TD Jakes in there, because we know he was at the freak offs. Pray, he was baptized in the sheets and stuff before the freak off.
Hey, babes, yeah. So you know they playing a dangerous game, man. They calling this a hip hop thing, and I do want us to push back on that as being people that introduce
because they're gambling that nobody in the hip hop industry got enough guts to expose a higher up. Are y'all following me? They're gambling that we can take down all these Negroes in Puffy Circle who attended these freak-offs and engaged in sex with women against their will, and they're going to be too scared to mention a white man's name. Because after all, when Jerry Epstein said, I'm not going down by myself, he was dead within a week, and they called it a suicide. Everybody know that wasn't no suicide. Jerry Epstein should have never said, I'm not going down by myself, and I think Puffy Combs knows better.
Yes.
He cannot do
Well,
it.
they said he'd been doing a hunger strike. He's scared
Because
to
he-
eat.
No,
Stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because they'll poison his food. Puffy, he be around them people. Puffy know how they get you.
Yeah.
Puffy know how they get you.
What's your feeling on Jaguar Wright? Well, they said he'd been doing a hunger strike. He's scared
Because
to
he,
eat.
no,
Stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because they'll poison his food. Puffy, he be around them people. Puffy know how they get you.
Yeah.
Puffy know how they get you.
What's your feeling on Jaguar Wright?
I don't really follow her too much. I see clips and everything. I know she's from Philly like me. I don't know.
She just made some very egregious claims, which she's been doing. I want to talk about Jay, because Jay responded to her going on the white platform, but he didn't respond to her as she's been saying it on all these black platforms.
Right.
I don't know if he's saying that the black platforms aren't big enough, or if he's saying that the white platforms are more respected. I don't know what that is, but nonetheless, she went on with Piers Morgan and spoke about Jay-Z is more dangerous than Diddy. And this has been her rhetoric.
Okay.
That Jay-Z is the real culprit. Now, following her appearance on Piers Morgan, Jay-Z put the lawyers on Piers Morgan.
Okay.
So the lawyers show up, hey, don't play like that. That's mainstream media. Don't say Beyonce, don't say Jay-Z about nothing.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering why black media, like you said, feasts on a fall off and the failures of each other. Mm-hmm. And white media will, I just want to talk about that whole thing, right? So Jaguar Wright, her feelings on Jay-Z, do you think it was a mistake for Jay-Z to respond with a lawyer saying, does that make him look guilty? Is that the right thing to do or the wrong?
And I didn't see the interview, obviously, but generally speaking, because Piers Morgan is a major platform, someone of a Jay-Z, Beyonce stature, obviously, you don't want them kind of things to be said about you. You would release the lawyers, whether they are true or false.
So if
because it's about damage control and reputation protection.
So what? So they actually.
Now, what some people may question, though, right? They won't question them shutting down Piers Morgan because it's about reputation protection. You're talking about two billionaires and two of the biggest names in the world, not just Black America. So purely on the interest of reputation protection, I can see them sending the lawyers. Sending the lawyers does not make you guilty, right? It's why people settle out of court. Michael Jackson settled out of court with the white boys that he was alleged of raping, and then we find out, a few years later, one of the white boys came out. He said, my mom and dad made me lie. Michael never touched us. So why did Michael settle out of court? Because you don't want this hanging over your head in public because it's messing with your money and your marketability. Y'all follow me? Same reason why Kobe settled out. I don't think he raped that white girl. That snow bunny had the semen of 3 different men in her underwear. Let me say that one more time. The woman Kobe touched in Colorado had the semen of 3 men in her underwear, right? Kobe didn't settle because he was, Lord have mercy. Thank God for Magnum Thin.
Right.
For Magnum Raw. For Magnum Ecstasy. Kobe settled because of what it was doing to his marketability in his career in the NBA. So I don't put guilt at Jay and Beyonce's feet for shutting down Pierce. The platform too big. But what some people might say is you shut down Pierce, but you didn't shut down the sister. Why not an anti-defamation suit on the purveyor of the information? If what she's saying is untrue.
A lie. Yeah, because if it's untrue, it's easy to get. I'm wondering what, but.
Look at how Cardi B shut down Tasha K on speaking against her. It don't matter if you got the money or not.
Yeah.
You can stop them from even saying it.
I'm wondering though.
I'm probably going to have to do the same thing.
Yeah.
With my little lame LAME crew on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm just sick and tired.
I'm wondering how far you let that go. How far you gonna let that go? Because that's been going a while.
For me, the reason I let it go is number one, they haven't stopped the shine, no matter how hard they try. And number two, once the school materializes, y'all gonna look like a bunch of fools anyway. That was my game. But my attorney is saying, I feel you, Doc, but I'm just tired of hearing them. And they're making too much money.
That's what the problem is.
You feel?
Yeah.
My attorney is saying they're making too much money. Even though you ain't paying this no mind, too much money is being made off of the defamation of your character. And that's why we probably.
You was probably one of the first ones, because now, to be honest, this is a genre. The fall off of this person. And,
oh my God.
Yeah, the dramatic downfall
of. A
of.
whole genre of praising people's failure.
Yeah.
But what does that say about us as black men? That I'm going to create a platform dedicated to helping society destroy our own people because they got more than I have, or they're more successful than me. To me, it speaks to the fall off of black masculinity. Yeah.
So, but now with Jay, I want a little bit more on what Jay and that whole lawyer situation. I'm wondering the difference between a white platform like a Piers Morgan that's no longer syndicated, because see, Piers Morgan is a guy who his face is mainstream. So his show don't necessarily got to be right.
So he got 2 coasts.
Right. So, but his show don't have to be signed with a CNN or MSNBC.
But
right?
I think he is on one of them platforms, isn't he? He's not with them no more?
No, he's with an independent kind of, same with Chris Hansen, same with.
Right, but they still on a network that is not their own.
Yes. He's still on a network that's not his own, but it's not like the CNNs or the MSNBC where I would call mainstream media. I got right? So in my opinion, his face card is just mainstream media.
Okay.
But I'm wondering, how can Piers Morgan with 1 million views be more valuable or more detrimental than this black platform with 5 million views? And she's saying the same exact thing.
Well, you got to remember, the black platform with the 5 million views is not necessarily a leading platform that white people watch. You follow what I'm saying?
So it's the white folks that they're trying to say, shut that off, the white people don't need
white people listen to white people more than they listen to black people for their news.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
White people might have black artists they listen to more for their music, but for their news, very few white people go to a black source for information.
I also think with Diddy that they're going to use, like you said, not only the media, but they're going to use participants of those parties to bury him. And this is how I think they're going to do it.
The problem with Diddy, before you continue, and apologies for my interruption.
No, you're good.
The problem with Diddy, brothers and sisters, is he made the mistake of not studying those who came before him. When Jay-Z started to tiptoe around billionaire status, he got married and sat his ass down. Are y'all following me? What do all rich white men do when they get up there in money? They get married and they start a family. They might be homosexual, they might be pedophile, they might be freak off crazy, they might be serial monogamy, but the image to the world is I am a family man. That's what Jay-Z has. That's what Bill Gates has.
Yes.
That's what every powerful man has except Sean Combs. The problem with Sean Combs, like Bill Cosby, like R. Kelly, not so much with R. Kelly because he was still kind of on top, but with Bill Cosby and Sean Combs, they kept crashing out at a level that was for down here when you are up here. Now, Cosby was married, he had the image, but he still wasn't safeguarding himself about the types of women he had around him. But Puffy, you are a billionaire still running around here reckless, sexual, undisciplined, and without a wife and kid. He got children, but not a wife and family that you could use as a mystique to hide behind. Puffy's big mistake was he did not get
The
married.
Playboy mantra.
If you're gonna do all that, at least have the image of a family. This is my wife. Look at all the guys in Hollywood. We don't know what they do, but what we see is a family man. That does matter. Puff ain't got that. What's the brother who got brought down by the snow? Jonathan Majors. He went to court every day with Megan Good. Probably just met her, but went to court with her every day because the image of a man in a relationship matters.
Right.
Puffy had no such woman by his side. I can't believe that he thought he would get away with that for the rest of his life.
Right. I also think they have interest in seizing some of those spots, in particular the ones that they raided, because...
Well, I also believe that there's people on those freak-off tapes because Puffy was such
Well,
a
that's
freak.
what I was going to say. So,
he had cameras in every room.
Yes.
And I believe there are some higher-ups who are on those cameras engaging in some compromising activity, and they can afford for it to get shown, and that's a big reason why they ain't give them no bond. Because Puff could have went home, made copies of that shit, and sent it all around the internet to YouTube and say, if I go down, hold it.
Yeah.
But if I go down, expose all they ass.
Right. Yeah, I believe that. And so...
But you know who I really feel for?
Who?
His children.
Oh, my God.
Can you
Oh,
imagine?
my God.
They can't talk to nobody. They can't trust nobody. Everybody just wants to use them for clicks and views and shit. I feel for them kids. Who do they go to?
And they lost
Your
their
mother
father.
is deceased. Your dad in jail. You have nobody who genuinely cares about you. If you pick up the phone and talk to somebody, the shit gonna be on the Shade Room, TMZ. I feel for them kids.
And
man.
the millennials like them, they really are invested in what people are saying online. So now they're confused. What do I believe? They're saying these men are in there.
All they can do is quarantine themselves in the
Oh
house
my
right
God.
now. I mean, they got Mama Combs. They got their grandma.
She just made a statement, man.
Saying what?
Saying that this stuff is untrue. Matter of fact, let's read that. So you didn't hear it.
Nah.
Yeah, let's get you that.
Nah.
That's something you can react to.
Thank God he got his mother alive.
Yeah,
you know
man.
what I mean?
And how long? God forbid, but I could imagine the stress on his mom going through this is like taking her down like a
True,
dog
but at the
pack.
same time, he knew he was playing with fire. The Sean Combs lesson for every black man in this auditorium, including the two on the stage, you got to know when enough is enough. Dr. Umar already knows that when I open up that school, they're gonna be trying to set me up every which way they can. I know that. So I automatically got to be planning on how I'm gonna move different. Y'all feel me? I ain't got no choice because this is what they do. I can't afford to be caught alone with a woman in my office. I'm taping everything. Soon as she walk in, it tape.
Especially a white woman. They want you. They want to catch you sleeping with old bunny. Boy, they want to catch you with a bunny.
That's easy to beat.
Boy, they want to catch. They might plant a bunny on you, boy. You might walk somewhere that's a naked bunny. What you gonna do, the naked bunny? What you gonna do?
Listen, if I want to look at a flat, pale ass, I'll get a whiteboard and just put that in my office.
All right, let's read this from Diddy's mom, man. It's actually a official press release with lawyers and everything involved. It just was Sunday. She released it Sunday, October the 6th, 2024.
Okay.
She says, I come to you today as a mother that is devastated and profoundly saddened by the allegations made against my son, Sean Combs. Her statement begins, it's heartbreaking to see my son judged not for the truth, but for a narrative created out of lies, she wrote, to bear witness to what seems like a public lynching of my son before he's had the opportunity to prove his innocence is a pain too unbearable to put in words. The case has put a spotlight on the music mogul's alleged lifestyle. That's them commenting, so I'll get back to her stuff. My son may not been entirely truthful about certain things, such as denying he has ever gotten violent with an ex-girlfriend when the hotel surveillance showed otherwise, she wrote. Sometimes the truth and a lie become so closely intertwined that it becomes terrifying to admit one part of the story, especially when the truth is outside of the norm or is too complicated to be believed. I don't think the pushing of responsibility is good. What do you feel about that?
So far, so good, though.
Okay.
So far, so good.
Keep going. Let's see. I was disgusted. So that's Diddy. They're talking about Diddy. Hold on, because this is a press release.
She needed to speak. She couldn't stay silent.
Yeah,
because if she stays silent, it appears that you believe your son is guilty. It's the same thing with Kamala Harris's father. Have y'all noticed how Kamala Harris's father has not come to his daughter's defense and say, I am black? Have y'all noticed that? He won't say a word. That automatically means what? You believe or you stand with the people who say she's just
silence speaks volumes.
Silence speaks volumes,
Yeah,
especially when you're the parent.
Right.
When you're the parent,
oh my God,
silence speaks volumes.
Oh my God,
she had to speak up, even if she believed he guilty.
Right,
she gotta speak up.
Do you think? I mean, I pray for her mental health, man. Even the kids too.
I pray for them kids, bro.
Oh my God, they
have no body, bro. They have no body.
Oh my
Puff
God.
had so many enemies. I'm gonna say this though, and I don't know this to be true. For the amount of money he had, and as long as he's been on top, it's going to be hard for somebody to convince me that he did every single person wrong. I have to say that some of this is jealousy and envy by people who were not taken care of the way they felt they should have been, who are now trying to bring this man down. I know there's people out there who Puffy helped, who just choosing not to stay silent because they're afraid of the backlash. You feel me?
Yeah.
You're not going to tell me a man that's been on top that long ain't done nobody right, but always had a team around him. I'm not buying
And see, but and then we'll move off Diddy. But this is what I was gonna say about how I think they're gonna get us to bury him. We've already did.
Oh, we already did.
Yeah, we've already did.
We already
with the
did.
media, the YouTube and
We
shit.
already
That's
did.
why you better get control of that, because that once that catches speed, it can get uncontrollable. I know that you feel like that, but be careful with that.
No, I'm with you. But the difference between me and Diddy is I practice African spirituality. Like my relationship with my ancestors, supreme consciousness, I try to keep that right. You feel me? I don't think Diddy had no spiritual foundation. And that's a big mistake that a lot of our celebrities make. They get so caught up in that life and in that money, they lose their relationship with supreme consciousness and they don't get it back. Even a lot of the ones who died, I think if they would have had relationship with God, they would have gotten some intuitive messages to make some different decisions. You can't tell me that Whitney Houston is the greatest voice God put on earth. You can't tell me that if she would have had a stronger connection with God, and I know she got started in the choir, but if Whitney would have had a stronger connection with God, something would have told her, you don't go to that Beverly Hills Hilton. You ain't going. Y'all follow me? You know how you get that urge? Today ain't the day to be going. Whitney would have got that, but we cut ourselves off from source because the white man has convinced us that money and materialism is all you need to make it in this world. No, you don't. You need God's footsteps in your life.
And so I believe
for him to be freaking off the way he was freaking off, I know Puff didn't have a strong spiritual foundation, because one of the things that we men do, women do it as well, but one of the things that we men do when we are disconnected from source and we going through drama and trauma is we engage in a lot of promiscuous sex that try to drown out our issues. And when you're talking about billionaires on that level, they don't have a lot of people they can go to either. You follow me? So I think Puffy freaking off was a way for him to sedate a lot of childhood issues and other issues he had that he never addressed. When I saw that tape of him beating on Cassie, you ain't gonna tell me Puff ain't got trauma.
Right.
I don't know if he was sexually, no man does that to a
Right.
woman and don't carry trauma. Puff got some shit
Right.
that he need to get out of him.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, right? So, on top of what media's already done, I believe them to start leaking faces, names of people that was there, forcing them to have to come out in the way that Diddy's mom did and say, I didn't know I done that, right? To add to the drug and right? Because if I'm a celebrity, I have to, if a tape comes out with me on it, I have to come out and say, nah, I didn't know that. I was drugged.
I think the strategy of most celebrities is going to be to remain quiet. You know why? Because if I am guilty and I say I'm not, there were enough other people at the freak off to say you guilty. Are y'all following me? That's why everybody is quiet. Everybody, and that's the way they should. If I was at them freak offs, I can't say I'm innocent and I'm not. There's too many other people who saw me. And here's the thing, Loon, I don't know which one of them is feeding the truth to the media.
Yeah,
there was too many of them.
But I believe them to
stay
just go
silent until you get a subpoena. If I'm
not even a subpoena. What I think the feds is gonna do.
Shit, I'm not saying nothing unless I get a subpoena.
I think the feds are gonna put it to the public, bro.
Was you there? Nah, I was with the Pope in Rome that night.
Listen though, but you gotta remember, right?
Looking at black Jesus in the basement.
We gotta remember this. We saw Diddy. Diddy was forced out to respond because of his own. They tricked him. They fed that video out to the public, and he just couldn't deal with the internet just on him. He came out, man, my behavior that day was so. And so what I'm saying
well, remember, the video came out after he paid Cassie.
Right.
And I thought that was dirty as shit, because I paid her.
Exactly.
And y'all
but
still
it was
dropped
because
the
it
video.
wasn't. It was the feds. That's what I'm saying. So what I believe with the discovery, with them going in the house getting those videos, the pictures, I believe this stuff starts to leak out. And so, of course, allegedly, but say you see a Young Miami or one of these people, high price or rappers on a video, they have no other choice but to throw Diddy under the bus and say I was drugged. I don't even remember that. I don't even know that happened. What is that?
Right, but then you're going to have to prove it. And what this cannot de-escalate into is a gossip war, a war of gossip, where you got a
It's
whole
already
bunch of
doing that
people.
with 120 though.
Right, but not all them got subpoenas yet. I want to see who actually gets subpoenaed. You see what I'm saying? But this could get so messy that it could save Puffy. Let me tell you what I mean by this. If this gets too messy, because you got so many people involved, they might pull him to the side. The elites pay him a visit in prison and say, listen, bro, we had to do this to you because you started forgetting who was in charge. This shit's so messy, we're going to clean this up and stop it. We're going to let you out. You get one more chance. I suggest you get your ass a wife. Freak off days is over. That baby oil, have a lawn sale for that shit. No, listen. Imagine how much money Puffy could sell a bottle of that baby oil for. People will buy that for like 10 grand. I got an official bottle of the freak off baby oil. And you know what's crazy now? A lot of brothers is not gonna feel comfortable having baby oil. You feel me? I'm like, shit, I need to throw my bottle out, because does this mean you be freaking off?
Right.
You know what I mean? But Puffy, because there's so many people involved, they might gotta shut it down before the big ones start to go down. Because you got too many mouths in this. You see what I'm saying?
His first
They
thing,
could save him.
Yeah.
Puff might get saved by the fact it's too many mouths, and the elites cannot afford to get dragged into it.
Right. And you know, the first thing I was saying was like, the first thing he gonna do is say, oh, look at his indictment. Ain't nothing but Cassie on there. I can handle. He ain't gonna do nothing but come in there and say, she the freak, not me.
But you know what I would advise all the hip hoppers to do? And for all my hip hop industry / freak off participants, listen to me. If they make you take the stand, plead the fifth. If I'm on there, I plead the fifth on the grounds that what I say might incriminate me. Not only am I protecting myself, I'm helping Puff.
Right.
Because by me saying I refuse to speak on the grounds that it might incriminate me, I'm almost kind of saying I might be more guilty than Puff.
Right.
But ain't nothing you can do because I pled the fifth. And so I'm taking all the energy off him, and now I got people in the courtroom looking at me. You feel me?
It makes sense.
Anybody who gets subpoenaed, plead the fifth on them crackers.
Yeah. That makes sense. That
Black
makes sense.
power. Imagine that.
Yeah.
All them going up there.
Yeah.
Usher, I plead the fifth. Justin Bieber, I plead the fifth. Jay-Z, not saying he was at a freak off, but whatever, I plead the fifth. You feel me? Oh, Mary J. Blige, I plead the fifth. The whole case is stopped. They should all plead the fifth. Every one of them. They ain't got no case now.
Right.
Plead the fifth.
What's your, because I know you are always speaking about the African heritage and we're African people. What's your relationship with Akon, if any? Because he speaks about
We don't have a relationship. I like the music. You know, his first 2 albums, you know, the brother was talented. I just don't appreciate the fact that Akon always appears to be having something negative to say about American Africans when he's asked. And my thing is, you came over here and you benefited from our culture. You benefited from hip hop. You benefited from R&B. And now that you're not at the top of the game no more, all you want to do is slander us every chance you get. You know, my thing is, instead of talking about us, why don't you focus on that futuristic city that the Chinese put you up to build in Senegal that's no longer coming to fruition? You know what I mean? That's what I heard. I heard the thing is no more. But I appreciate him trying to build the city. Don't get me wrong. If Akon called me today or tomorrow and said, listen, Doc, I apologize for the things I said about the American African family because we all one people. I want you to help me get, going with me on this city. I would help the brother out. I just want him to stop speaking negatively about us. Burna Boy said something too, but it seemed like he kind of cleaned it up a little bit. I've only heard him make that one mishap. I can ride with the one, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But my thing is with my continental African brothers and sisters who I love to death, I'm doing all I can on this side to get our people to see that we all one. I need y'all to do the same. You know what I mean? It's not fair for us to be trying to extend this Pan-African arm of love and respect, and y'all not trying to do the same. Right. Speaking negatively about black folks when you're indulging in our music and our culture, it's not good. We one family. I'm a Pan-Africanist. Akon is my brother. Burna Boy is my brother. I will never speak negatively about anybody in the African family, and I'm asking them to do the same.
You said, D.L. Hughley said that you will marry, date black women, but you wouldn't vote for one.
Kamala Harris is not a black woman. She's an East Indian.
That's a good comeback. And
Spice Bunny.
He said he didn't want to. What do you feel? Spice Bunny.
No rice, no ice, no spice, no sand, no salsa. One more time, and you Negroes better hear me. No rice, no spice, no ice, no sand, no salsa.
What happened with the debate?
D.L. Hughley punked out. He said he will debate me in the school's auditorium. What he failed to realize is our gymnatorium has been renovated for 3 years now. That's been ready to go. I just didn't want to get that inspected because why have a gym without the school? So he put his foot in his mouth. And so I challenged D.L. Respect, who I love and respect. It's all good. I ain't got nothing to give, right? But I challenged him to keep good on his promise of debating Dr. Umar in my gymnatorium. He never got back to me with a date, but he did attack Janet Jackson, talking about her nose and all this other stuff because she questioned Kamala Harris's race. But you don't want to debate Dr. Umar. Why are you picking on Michael Jackson's little sister? Come pick on me.
Right. So if now let me ask you this, because this is something that I want to do. Candace Owens.
Yes.
She's in Nashville, and Candace, when you see this.
What do you mean? She's based there?
Yeah. We need to make
this her home?
Yes. They don't know that.
Somebody tell me she was from Pennsylvania.
No, she's living here now. She's not from here. She's living here.
But this is her base?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, nobody knows. Okay. She kind of keeps it under wraps. But I want to get you and Candace Owens on stage. Is that something that I can do?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, Candace, we're going to make that happen.
I will conduct the intellectual assassination.
You think you'll assassinate Candace? Tell me some of the things you don't enjoy or some of the talking points.
I'll save it for the ring.
You'll save it for the ring.
Save it for the ring.
Do you think you can work for the white person and represent black people?
Not to the fullest extent necessary. You will have to compromise yourself when you work for the enemy. There's no way around it.
Because she has worked for conservative media, but she's always saying, like, I'm not compromised. I'm
Well,
actually
she's a
the
Republican Party plantation slave. She's a Trump supporter. Candace is a Republican. She is the Roland Martin of the Republicans. Yeah.
She's
I'm
swift,
not on
though.
either plantation.
She's swift now.
Oh, very intelligent.
Yeah,
sister.
don't, yeah.
Very intelligent sister,
Yeah.
but she is a bunny hopper.
I can't wait to make that happen. I can't wait. Oh, she's a bunny hopper. So you don't believe in love. That's what she's gonna tell you. And also respond to
A black woman giving her vagina to a Caucasian is an insult to the ancestors.
I think she'll disagree with that.
I'm sure she would.
I'm sure she'll disagree with that.
I'm sure she would. And I'm sure Kamala not black, but I'm sure Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, and I was so hurt to see her with a snow puppy. This black, dark, chocolate, curvy, natural hair queen, and got a white husband. Damn. Woo.
What are some of the, give us some of the topics, because she'll definitely see this. Give us some of the topics
she
that
know
you
who I
want to
am.
have a conversation
She
about.
don't need to know.
No,
Candace
she
knows.
know who you are. I'm saying that going into the debate that I want to put y'all on stage, is it anything?
Whatever you want it to be.
So it can be any topics.
Put her on the stage, whatever you want it to be, and I will conduct the intellectual execution.
Goodness gracious.
King fucking Kong.
You said Shannon Sharp is being canceled by the elites.
He made it out.
He made it out.
I think he's good now. But the mistake that Shannon made was when he was bringing Cat Williams on there. And not only Cat, but Cat was the big juggernaut, letting them speak freely. And Shannon has one of the top YouTube platforms as a celebrity himself, 3-time NFL, multiple Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer, 3-time Super Bowl champion. In my opinion, he's the greatest tight end who ever played the game, although he's a bunny hopper. Shannon let Cat Williams and them come on there and expose other elites, black elites. You're not supposed to do that. One of the unwritten rules of the black celebrity inner circle, you don't expose our secrets. That's a rule. Shannon coming over from the athletic side, he probably wasn't aware of the rules. So you got Cat Williams up here airing everybody out. So you know what automatically happens? People pick up the phone and they tell other celebrities.
What told you he
don't
was being
interview.
canceled though?
Because he said that certain interviews he wanted, they were telling him no when they previously said yes. You see what I'm saying? There were certain people he wanted to interview, that were not even open to it anymore because they got to protect the in crowd. Remember, the black celebrity bourgeoisie, right? They are their own community. They don't identify with us. They identify with each other. They got their own rules. And one of the biggest rules, you do not discuss our business. Even when I'm hanging with celebrities, celebrities, they don't talk about other celebrities' business. They can't. That's one of the rules. What we do stays inside. And by Shannon bringing Cat Williams and other people on his podcast, he was breaking the unwritten rule. I think he's okay now. I think he's regained himself. He did his little freak thing
That was a publicity stunt, you think?
I believe it was. Because he had them accusations, and I don't think Uncle Shannon is gay. You know what I mean? But I know he wanted to get that monkey off his back, and I think he put that on himself. Because when he spoke to Ocho Cinco afterwards, he was bragging about it.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, Ocho, I was saying that up, Ocho. You saw that guy fight with a bag, Ocho!
Yeah, and they fired Paul Pierce for just having girls in.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and they did nothing to
They
him.
didn't do it
So
with
I
Shannon.
know that he probably had some clearance to do that. All right, get that off, man.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, that don't technically clear you because you can be bi, as many of them are. But I think he okay. I wouldn't put that on Uncle Shannon. Coonish, absolutely. Rainbow Ganger, I ain't gonna put that on Unc.
I was watching a stream with Aiden Ross and Andrew Tate. You familiar with Andrew Tate?
Yes, I am.
Andrew Tate said something, and I want you to respond to it. He said that if there was an all-white town and an all-black town, no, I asked you.
Go ahead.
If there was an all-white town and an all-black town, who would want to integrate first?
The black people will want to.
That's what he said.
Because we are so thirsty for Caucasian validation.
But he didn't say it for that. He said it because, and I want you to respond to that. He said it because he felt like that the all-white town would be better, like have better gas stations, not based on current, just that, in my opinion, it was
Yes, because the white folks have access to greater capital. But if the black people have equal access to capital and we are beyond our self-hating tendencies, I think the white people would want to integrate first, because if they understand anything about the histories of Black Wall Street, our independent communities did far better than theirs. They used to come and learn from us. They used to come and get loans from us. And when you look at the inventions of this country, look at all the shit black people invented. Give black people the wealth and let us do us with the free mind. Can't nobody touch us on the
And
front.
so he was speaking about on an even playing field. So he was saying, without all the constructs in place, just if we segregated and there was a black town and a white town, who would want to integrate first?
I'll ask it like this. Whose culture is more exploitable and marketable on a global scale? White culture or black culture? Hands above the rest, it's black culture. What do we take from them culture-wise?
Exactly.
Very little.
Yeah.
What does the world take from them culture-wise?
Right.
Very little. European culture, in many respects, not completely, because I don't want to be disrespectful, but in many respects, it is a parasitic culture. They got where they got by exploitation, murder, and theft. There is no America. There is no British Empire. There is no French Empire. There is no Belgian Empire without exploitation, murder, and theft. The modern world that the white man presently controls, although the Chinese are about to take it over, was built on blood, exploitation, and theft. That is a fact.
And then I think blacks, I think we are smart. Like, to me, it felt like he was saying, that our inventions would be lackluster and our neighborhoods
Nah,
would
we
be
too sharp.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they always come get
sharp.
stuff from us, like you
We
said.
invented the technology that allows cell phones to be used. We invented the technology that allows the internet to be used. We invented the technology that allows these lights to be on right now. That was Lewis Latimer who did that. When you look at the most important inventions in world history, we easily got 50% of them. Easily got 50% of them, bro. You ain't getting there without us.
Right, that's what I didn't get that, and I wanted someone.
And that's
like
another
you to
reason
respond
why
to.
I want a moratorium on sports in the black community, because our boys are so narrow-minded in their pursuit of athletics that they're not even tapping into their scientific genius. They're not even tapping into their medical genius. They're not even tapping into their engineering genius. Imagine how much further we would be if we just gave athletics a break. Think about that,
I
yo.
don't think that, bro.
Oh, man,
I don't
please.
think everybody can be a genius.
Have
I
you
don't think
seen
everybody
me?
can be a genius.
Everybody can be.
A genius.
You don't have to be a genius. Do you know most medical doctors graduated at the middle of their class? They didn't become medical doctors because they were geniuses. They became medical doctors because they were committed to achieving.
Right.
It's achievement.
Right.
They were hard workers. I wasn't a genius. I got recommended for mental giftedness. I failed it. I'll pass it now because I know all the answers. I get the damn test, right? But I failed it. You understand? I was a hard worker. My best friend, Mark, rest in peace, he died last year. He was true MG. MG had come to him like this. We had the same grades, but for him it was easy.
Right.
I had to work a little harder.
Yeah.
There is a such thing, and I want my parents to hear me. A hardworking child, an overachieving child, is not necessarily a gifted child. But that's not a problem, because most people who are successful in this world were not successful because they were gifted. They were successful because they had the discipline to achieve their goals. Discipline is 20 times more important than giftedness.
Yes. Do you think there'll be a civil war if Trump isn't reelected?
I believe, and I'm glad you brought this up, November the 5th, I don't care where y'all at, but you better be in the damn house or around black people. If Donald Trump loses, I think there's going to be white violence against blacks. If Donald Trump wins, I think there's going to be white violence against blacks. It's either going to be
Either way.
It's either going to be a victory celebration of violence, or it's going to be a defeat celebration of violence.
So
but there's
it's-
going to be violence against black people if Donald Trump wins.
Whoa.
Or loses. Either way. November 5th, I wouldn't be caught around white folks when the election results are read.
You truly believe that?
I absolutely believe it.
Even if he win, I see lose and I see that it could get
Even if he
slippery.
win, even
but
if he win.
winning, I'm gonna smoke one of y'all if he win.
Did y'all see how the rednecks been beating up black Trump supporters at Trump rallies? Somebody just sent me a video. Bro, they're beating up black people who support Trump at the Trump rallies, bro.
I didn't say, damn.
And one thing, there's a million reasons why I'm not going to vote for either one of them. But an additional reason why I will not be voting for Donald Trump, I do not like the way that he's weaponizing stereotypes against our Congolese immigrant brothers and sisters and our Haitian immigrant brothers and sisters. He's inviting violence against them.
You talking about they're eating the dogs.
Eating the dogs. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you how slick he is, though. Let me tell you how slick he is. Why did he say the same thing about the Latino migrants? Why did he say the same thing about the Venezuelans and the rest of them? Why he only picking on the black ones? You know why? Because he wants an open relationship with those countries. And he also knows that whether he closes the borders or not, American industries will take their companies elsewhere if Donald Trump don't continue to let the migrants sneak across the border. You know why? Because if they are not allowed to pay them under the table, they will go to Cambodia and Vietnam and get kids who can work for $1 a day. Listen to what I'm saying. It don't matter who becomes president. The migrant crisis will not stop because it's the only thing keeping big business in this country. That's why he attacked the Congolese and the Haitian and won't say a damn thing about the Mexicans and the Venezuelans because he know he ain't gonna stop them from coming over here.
Do you think they can?
It's way more migrants of Latino origin than Congolese and Haitians. Who the two blackest immigrants? Congolese and Haitians. There's way more of them browns than these blacks. Why are you picking on a few blacks? Y'all don't let Congolese in here like that because you know you can't attack them because you have no interest in stopping the migrant invasion of America. Brothers and sisters, we are being replaced. And if we don't come together and create a world of our own, we will be done with in this country. Within the next 10 years, they will not even mention black people's issues. And that's one of the reasons they're calling us people of color. And stop calling yourself a person of color. By calling yourself a person of color, you're allowing them to kill the black agenda. You're allowing them to push you into solidarity with other groups who hate you as much as white people do. And then them same people you identify with, people of color, they're going to use them to silence you. What do I mean by that? Right now, they're holding surveys of people of color, Arabs, East Indians, Latinos, Asians, and they're asking them what they think about reparations for blacks. And guess what? Overwhelmingly, these other non-white, non-black groups are saying they don't think reparations is necessary. They think America has moved beyond race. These are the same people you identify with every time you call yourself a person of color. And guess what? They are overwhelmingly against your reparations. If you keep calling yourself a person of color, they're going to be able to vote in issues that matter to you. Stop it. We better go back to black, American, African. Be careful with that people of color. You're putting yourself in a corner that you will not be able to get out of. And if you identify comfortably as a person of color, why doesn't their opinion matter about black people since all of you are a single group, people of color? Stop it.
Do you think that do you think it was true they're eating the dogs?
No, that's not true.
Do you think they can reverse engineer that?
What you mean?
Send somebody over to
I'm going to tell you what I do hope. First of all, Congolese are the oldest people on the planet. When you meet a Congolese, you're looking at the descendant of the original man and woman. They are the spiritually strongest people, okay? The Haitians, they're the most revolutionary spiritual people. Remember what they did. They defeated Napoleon Bonaparte.
Yes, sir.
A slave army defeated the white man's greatest general. Right?
They went hard.
So when you pick with them two groups, you messing with God's children. Listen, I practice Ifa. I don't practice Haitian voodoo. But to all my Haitian voodoo brothers and sisters, I want you to unleash the biggest curses on these crackers that you can measure up. My Congolese brothers and sisters, I want you to unleash the biggest curses on these crackers that you can. Make them pay for all that they said about you. Unleash them.
So where did he get this from?
Put a hex on all them devils.
What do you think Trump got this? They're eating the dogs.
They made it up. He wanted to weaponize white.
Made it up
They
out
made
of
it
thin
up.
air.
They made it up. Old stereotypes. Shit, they said we used to eat animals and stuff like that. Yeah. He made it up to weaponize white folks. Racism gets you voted in office. Racism wins votes. Why do you think Hillary Clinton called us super predators? Why did George Bush call our women welfare queens? Racism gets you votes because white people are racist, all of them. Racism gets you votes, and Donald Trump is energizing that base, them poor white people, to make sure they come out and vote for him. See, the reason the Democrats went with Kamala Harris is because in the last election, 10 million more women were registered to vote than men. 10 million more women across race. 10 million more women were registered to vote than men in the last election. So you see what they're gambling on. They saying even though she's an East Indian, right, artificial black woman, we're going to gamble that Kamala Harris can bring us more women votes than Trump. There's more women in America than men.
Right.
If Kamala can decisively bring to the Democrats more female voters than men, she'll win. That's what they're gambling on. But here's my thing. I'm not too sure white women want the brown woman over the white man. Are y'all following me? I think they talk that feminist crap, but when they go into that election booth, because nobody knows who you voted for, it's completely secret. Them white women gonna pull that thing for Trump. They're not going for Kamala Harris.
So what is the motivation behind the victory violence?
Because white people have always celebrated through abusing blacks. Do you realize that our pain is their original pastime?
Yeah.
They would go out and randomly get a black person and hang them and skin them and burn them and make their kids watch them. Violence against black people is the original amusement. It's the original sport. It's the original pastime of America. And then they would skin us, and they would make purses out of our skin. They would make shoes out of our skin. They would make Bible. Y'all don't know that? Even after you died, you were still valuable. They said that black people's skin was a better leather than any animal they could find. And that's why when you go into some of these antique shops in Tennessee, look at some of the leather you see. That might be one of your ancestors' skin.
Goodness gracious.
Yes.
That's heavy, man.
Yes. Heinous. Heinous.
That's heavy.
Inhumane. Yes.
Yeah.
And this is whose ancestors you want in your child's DNA when you lay down and make babies with. Okay, now, I think he's regained himself. You know, he did his little freak thing with the
That was a publicity stunt, you think?
I believe it was. I believe it was. You know, because he had them accusations, and I don't think Uncle Shannon is gay. You know what I mean? But I know he wanted to get that monkey off his back, and I think he put that on himself. Because when he spoke to Ocho Cinco afterwards, he was bragging about it.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, Ocho, I was saying that up, Ocho. You saw that guy fight with a bag, Ocho!
Yeah, and they fired Paul Pierce for just having girls in.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and they did nothing to
They
him.
didn't do it
So
with
I
Shannon.
know that he probably had some clearance to do that. All right, get that off, man.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, that don't technically clear you because you can be bi, as many of them are. But I think he okay. I wouldn't put that on Uncle Shannon. Coonish, absolutely. Rainbow Ganger, I ain't gonna put that on Unc.
I was watching a stream with Aiden Ross and Andrew Tate. You familiar with Andrew Tate?
Yes, I am.
Andrew Tate said something, I want you to respond to it. He said that if there was an all-white town and an all-black town, no, I asked you.
Go ahead.
If there was an all-white town and an all-black town, who would want to integrate first?
The black people will want to.
That's what he said.
Because we are so thirsty for Caucasian validation.
But he didn't say it for that. He said it because, and I want you to respond to that. He said it because he felt like that the all-white town would be better, like have better gas stations, not based on current, just that, in my opinion, it was
Yes, because the white folks have access to greater capital. But if the black people have equal access to capital, and we are beyond our self-hating tendencies, I think the white people would want to integrate first. Because if they understand anything about the histories of Black Wall Street, our independent communities did far better than theirs. They used to come and learn from us. They used to come and get loans from us. And when you look at the inventions of this country, look at all the shit Black people invented. Give Black people the wealth and let us do us with the free mind. Can't nobody touch us on the
And so he was speaking about on an even playing field. So he was saying, without all the constructs in place, just if we segregated and there was a Black town and a white town, who would want to integrate first?
I'll ask it like this. Whose culture is more exploitable and marketable on a global scale? White culture or Black culture? Hands above the rest, it's Black culture. What do we take from them culture-wise?
Exactly.
Very little.
Yeah.
What does the world take from them culture-wise?
Right.
Very little. European culture, in many respects, not completely, because I don't want to be disrespectful, but in many respects, it is a parasitic culture. They got where they got by exploitation, murder, and theft. There is no America. There is no British Empire. There is no French Empire. There is no Belgian Empire without exploitation, murder, and theft. The modern world that the white man presently controls, although the Chinese are about to take it over, was built on blood, exploitation, and theft. That is a fact.
And then I think Blacks, I think we are smart. Like, to me, it felt like he was saying, that our inventions would be lackluster and our neighborhoods would be...
we too sharp.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they always come get stuff from us, like you said.
We invented the technology that allows cell phones to be used. We invented the technology that allows the internet to be used. We invented the technology that allows these lights to be on right now. That was Lewis Latimer who did that. When you look at the most important inventions in world history, we easily got 50% of them. Easily got 50% of them, bro. You ain't getting there without us.
Right, that's what I didn't get that, and I wanted someone
And that's
like
another
you to
reason
respond
why
to.
I want a moratorium on sports in the Black community, because our boys are so narrow-minded in their pursuit of athletics that they're not even tapping into their scientific genius. They're not even tapping into their medical genius. They're not even tapping into their engineering genius. Imagine how much further we would be if we just gave athletics a break. Think about that,
I
y'all.
don't think that, bro.
Oh, man, please.
I don't think everybody can be a genius.
Have
I
you
don't think everybody can be a genius.
Everybody can be
a genius.
You don't have to be a genius. Do you know most medical doctors graduated at the middle of their class? They didn't become medical doctors because they were geniuses. They became medical doctors because they were committed to achieving.
Right.
It's achievement.
Right.
They were hard workers. I wasn't a genius. I got recommended for mental giftedness. I failed it. I'll pass it now because I know all the answers. I get the damn test, right? But I failed it. You understand? I was a hard worker. My best friend Mark, rest in peace, he died last year. He was true MG. MG had come to him like this. We had the same grades, but for him it was easy.
Right.
I had to work a little harder.
Yeah.
There is a such thing, and I want my parents to hear me. A hard-working child, an overachieving child, is not necessarily a gifted child. But that's not a problem, because most people who are successful in this world were not successful because they were gifted. They were successful because they had the discipline to achieve their goals. Discipline is 20 times more important than giftedness.
Yes. Do you think there'll be a civil war if Trump isn't reelected?
I believe, and I'm glad you brought this up, November the 5th, I don't care where y'all at, but you better be in the damn house or around Black people. If Donald Trump loses, I think there's going to be white violence against Blacks. If Donald Trump wins, I think there's going to be white violence against Blacks. It's either going to be...
Either way.
It's either going to be a victory celebration of violence or it's going to be a defeat celebration of violence. So there's going to be violence against Black people if Donald Trump wins.
Whoa.
Or loses. Either way. November 5th, I wouldn't be caught around white folks when the election results are read.
You truly believe that?
I absolutely believe it.
Even if he wins, I see lose and I see that it could get
Even if he
slippery.
win, even if he wins.
Winning? I'ma smoke one of y'all if he win.
Did y'all see how the rednecks been beating up black Trump supporters at Trump rallies? Somebody just sent me a video. Bro, they're beating up black people who support Trump at the Trump rallies, bro.
I didn't say, damn.
And one thing, there's a million reasons why I'm not going to vote for either one of them. But an additional reason why I will not be voting for Donald Trump, I do not like the way that he's weaponizing stereotypes against our Congolese immigrant brothers and sisters and our Haitian immigrant brothers and sisters. He's inviting violence against them.
You talking about they're eating the dogs.
Eating the dogs. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you how slick he is, though. Let me tell you how slick he is. Why did he say the same thing about the Latino migrants? Why did he say the same thing about the Venezuelans and the rest of them? Why he only picking on the black ones? You know why? Because he wants an open relationship with those countries. And he also knows that whether he closes the borders or not, American industries will take their companies elsewhere if Donald Trump don't continue to let the migrants sneak across the border. You know why? Because if they are not allowed to pay them under the table, they will go to Cambodia and Vietnam and get kids who can work for $1 a day. Listen to what I'm saying. It don't matter who becomes president. The migrant crisis will not stop because it's the only thing keeping big business in this country. That's why he attacked the Congolese and the Haitian and won't say a damn thing about the Mexicans and the Venezuelans because he know he ain't gonna stop them from coming over here.
Do you think they can?
It's way more migrants of Latino origin than Congolese and Haitians. Who the two blackest immigrants? Congolese and Haitians. There's way more of them browns than these blacks. Why are you picking on a few blacks? Y'all don't let Congolese in here like that because you know you can't attack them because you have no interest in stopping the migrant invasion of America. Brothers and sisters, we are being replaced. And if we don't come together and create a world of our own, we will be done with in this country. Within the next 10 years, they will not even mention black people's issues. And that's one of the reasons they're calling us people of color. And stop calling yourself a person of color. By calling yourself a person of color, you're allowing them to kill the black agenda. You're allowing them to push you into solidarity with other groups who hate you as much as white people do. And then them same people you identify with, people of color, they're going to use them to silence you. What do I mean by that? Right now, they're holding surveys of people of color, Arabs, East Indians, Latinos, Asians, and they're asking them what they think about reparations for blacks. And guess what? Overwhelmingly, these other non-white, non-black groups are saying they don't think reparations is necessary. They think America has moved beyond race. These are the same people you identify with every time you call yourself a person of color. And guess what? They are overwhelmingly against your reparations. If you keep calling yourself a person of color, they're going to be able to vote in issues that matter to you. Stop it. We better go back to black, American, African. Be careful with that people of color. You're putting yourself in a corner that you will not be able to get out of. And if you identify comfortably as a person of color, why doesn't their opinion matter about black people since all of you are a single group, people of color? Stop it.
Do you think that do you think it was true they're eating the dogs?
No, that's not true.
Do you think they can reverse engineer that?
What you mean?
Send somebody over to
I'm going to tell you what I do hope. First of all, Congolese are the oldest people on the planet. When you meet a Congolese, you're looking at the descendant of the original man and woman. They are the spiritually strongest people, okay? The Haitians, they're the most revolutionary spiritual people. Remember what they did. They defeated Napoleon Bonaparte.
Yes,
a slave army defeated the white man's greatest general. Right?
They went hard.
So when you pick with them two groups, you messing with God's children. Listen, I practice Ifa. I don't practice Haitian voodoo. But to all my Haitian voodoo brothers and sisters, I want you to unleash the biggest curses on these crackers that you can measure up. My Congolese brothers and sisters, I want you to unleash the biggest curses on these crackers that you can. Make them pay for all that they said about you. Unleash them.
So where did he get this
Put
from?
a hex on all them devils.
What do you think Trump got this? They're eating the dogs.
They made it up. He wanted to weaponize white.
Made it up out of thin air.
They made it up. Old stereotypes. Shit, they said we used to eat animals and stuff like that. Yeah. He made it up to weaponize white folks. Racism gets you voted in office. Racism wins votes. Why do you think Hillary Clinton called us super predators? Why did George Bush call our women welfare queens? Racism gets you votes because white people are racist, all of them. Racism gets you votes, and Donald Trump is energizing that base, them poor white people, to make sure they come out and vote for him. See, the reason the Democrats went with Kamala Harris is because in the last election, 10 million more women were registered to vote than men. 10 million more women across race. 10 million more women were registered to vote than men in the last election. So you see what they're gambling on. They saying even though she's an East Indian, right, artificial black woman, we're going to gamble that Kamala Harris can bring us more women votes than Trump. There's more women in America than men.
Right.
If Kamala can decisively bring to the Democrats more female voters than men, she'll win. That's what they're gambling on. But here's my thing. I'm not too sure white women want the brown woman over the white man. Are y'all following me? I think they talk that feminist crap, but when they go into that election booth, because nobody knows who you voted for, it's completely secret. Them white women gonna pull that thing for Trump. They're not going for Kamala Harris.
So what is the motivation behind the victory violence?
Because white people have always celebrated through abusing blacks. Do you realize that our pain is their original pastime?
Yeah.
They would go out and randomly get a black person and hang them and skin them and burn them and make their kids watch them. Violence against black people is the original amusement. It's the original sport. It's the original pastime of America. And then they would skin us, and they would make purses out of our skin. They would make shoes out of our skin. They would make Bible. Y'all don't know that? Even after you died, you were still valuable. They said that black people's skin was a better leather than any animal they could find. And that's why when you go into some of these antique shops in Tennessee, look at some of the leather you see. That might be one of your ancestors' skin.
Goodness gracious.
Yes.
That's heavy, man.
Yes. Heinous. Heinous.
That's heavy.
Inhumane. Yes.
Yeah.
And this is whose ancestors you want in your child's DNA when you lay down and make babies with them.
Do you think that, and we're about almost done, so we're finna close out in just a second.
And when we done, whoever want a photo, we can
Yeah,
take
for
it.
sure. Child support.
It needs to be overhauled. Child support needs to be overhauled. Now, don't get me wrong. It costs money to raise a child. I didn't say it should be eliminated. It needs to be overhauled. I am of the opinion that child support should go on a card, the same way welfare payments go on a card. And you could only use them for certain things. I see too many women using child support to take care of themselves and not the child. Something needs to be done about that. There also need to be some limits imposed because especially with these celebrities, I'm seeing men pay out too much money. Kanye West has the highest child support in American history. I think it's $250,000 a month. Okay? And to his credit, he ain't complained because he's a billionaire. He can afford that. But something got to be done. And I think a big reason why black men are not committing to our women, one of the big reasons why we don't see more marriage is black men are afraid of what will happen if this relationship goes south. Alimony plus child support, that can destroy your black man. Even if you're middle class, you've got a good income, that can break you down. So if we want to heal the black family, we're going to have to heal that child support system as well.
Have you ever been on child support?
I'm on child support now for my 13-year-old. And I was on child support for my 22-year-old.
See?
Yeah, and
that's where it's coming from. I feel you. I ain't on it though, but.
No, remember, I didn't say it should be done away with.
Right.
You follow me?
Right.
They need money. I was put on child support because I didn't marry the mothers of my children. They both wanted to get married. And what I said was, I didn't dismiss it.
Right.
Because I would love to be married to the mother of my child. But your pregnancy is not going to dictate family. What we're going to do is let's continue to date and explore this. If they would have been patient, they would have been married in 12 months. Because I am that type of man. I couldn't let them know that.
Right.
But they were so arrogant in feeling like I was obligated to wife them up that they showed me their true colors too soon.
Right.
And I saw the type of woman I was dealing with. Not to say that there's anything wrong with them.
Right.
But I saw how they were with me. And I said, she ain't the one who can walk.
You having any more children?
Will I have any more children? I would love to have a son, but there's no way to guarantee a son. You know what I mean? But you could go through all that.
A little Dr. Umar be
I'm
hard.
not doing none of that in vitro type, but a surrogate. Now, I would like to have a son, but because you can't guarantee it, I might pass it up. But it's not out the question.
I think that'll be interesting. A small Dr. Umar. That'll be very interesting. You will teach him.
He gonna come out of his mother. Black queen forever. Nobody's never.
Are you? Do you practice poly? You interested in poly?
I'm going to have 2 wives.
Okay.
I don't currently have 2 women, but I'm going to have.
How do you go from not having 2 women to having 2 wives?
I don't think it'd be that difficult. I think most men in our lives, we've often dated more than one woman at a time. It ain't enough of us to go around. It's something we do. Very few men.
Dating them separately though. We talking about poly ain't a...
Poly don't mean they live in the same house.
Oh, okay.
So,
so I'm seeing Finesse 2 Times. You know Finesse 2 Times? Old rapper.
Yeah.
Yeah, old Finesse 2 Times doing some kind of ghetto poly. You know what I'm saying?
Together?
Yeah, it's
some women want to live together. Me personally, I think every black woman needs their own queendom. I do.
That's,
so I don't.
that's
my
boss
wife
talk.
said we want to live together.
That's boss talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife said we want to live together. Then I'm okay with that. But we're gonna have to do some kind of lesbian check to make sure this ain't no freak off when I'm not home. You know what I'm saying? But I think under. I better not catch no baby or you'll open when I get home. But I think they're gonna be in 2 separate homes though. You know what I mean? Because I got 2.
How you gonna run 2 homes like?
Well, remember now, my wives are activist wives. Like, I need you to understand that they're more helpmates than wives.
So Suki
because
couldn't be.
I'm gonna tell you why. Why does the pastor always end up sleeping with the help? Because in many respects, she became a wife by doing so much for him and holding him down so much, she earned the intimacy. Are y'all following me? Any man who works that closely with an unmarried woman, if she's doing that kind of work, sooner or later, they're going to cross that line. That's human nature. I'm not even going to play with it. You understand? Because my 2 main assistants will be the wives. So I ain't even got to go through all that. Because here's my thing. I value marriage so much that I do not plan to cheat when I do it. You see what I'm saying? I'm not cheating. I'm not doing it.
So you think some people plan to cheat? I'll get married, but I'm still going to do my thing.
Most men marry because they want to shut the woman up. But he don't plan to curb his sexual appetite. See how quiet it is in here? And marriage does not cure promiscuity. It slows it down for a year. And he's back out there thirsting.
With a ring
And
on.
the women do for that matter. Because I'm going to tell you something. Being a school psychologist, working in the schools with the teachers, I think one of the reasons why I didn't get married so fast is the amount of married women who openly pursued me. And some of them were just married this year. I'm like, you are a newlywed and you trying to give me the Cinnabons already? You feel me? Like, yo, you got to know who you marrying out here, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm like, there's a man somewhere who loves this woman and she all in the school psychologist's face. Yeah, man. Yeah,
Now,
boy.
could you see yourself?
Women marry for security, not for monogamy.
Yeah. Yes. And
Men
a woman
marry
has
for
told me
structure,
that.
not for
Yeah.
monogamy.
A woman has told me that
Women
specifically.
marry for security.
Yeah.
not for
But
monogamy.
with poly, like, cause you.
But see, me and my wife gonna have a contract. Because I'm telling her right now, you got one time to come in here with a loosey-goosey.
What's a loosey goosey?
You know what a loosey-goosey is. Come in here with a pop rubber band if you want. Come in here with some sex crumbs in my bed. You got one time to come in here smelling like old condoms and his marriage is over.
Now, if Suki wanted to be with you, would you entertain that?
I would entertain it. because I believe in the redemption of the spirit.
When I seen you kiss her, I said, oh, he likes her.
I kissed her on the cheek, though.
Of
She's
course.
beautiful.
Don't nobody,
Rihanna is beautiful.
Yeah,
She's
but the lips
stunningly
ain't
beautiful.
used on everybody, Doc. You ain't gonna give me that.
What?
You ain't just kissing every woman you see.
On the cheek, I kiss all the queens on the cheek.
That ain't true. I've been around you since 18.
I
Since 18, Doc.
Suki was looking extra good in Miami.
That's what I'm telling you. And so I
She was looking extra good in Miami.
Does she? Do you think that she's like? I guess that's personal. I'll leave that out. You know what I'm saying? Because it feels like something's there with y'all, and it doesn't feel like you're scared to.
I respect the fact she respects me so much.
Yeah.
That she don't want to waste my time unless she ready.
Ooh. 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 I think the poly thing is interesting. You like thick women, right?
Ooh,
Curves.
5'5", thick in the thighs. Cinnabon.
What's up with the sexual appetite? You got a sexual appetite too,
I
right?
just like my woman curvy.
Ah.
I just like me curvy.
You heard him. He's at 5'5", thick in the
Butter almond, butter pecan, sweet brown sugar, chocolate, walnut, almond, butterscotch, fudge,
Man, what's your
pina
next?
colada, African lemonade.
What? African lemon. He said African lemonade. I ain't never heard that one. What's your next couple of what's next for Umar?
The school, obviously, but in terms of stops, Dallas, Howard University students, they putting on a comedy show in Arlington to kick off the homecoming weekend. That's going to be on the 16th. Then I'm off to London, come back from London. We have our Nat Turner, November the 11th, Nat Turner Martyrdom celebration. So Nat Turner was hanged November the 11th. So every November the 11th, we honor him in the Nat Turner Army. If any of you have never been to the Nat Turner Trail to experience that tour, consider coming with us. NatTurnerLibrary.com is the website. Fly into Richmond, Virginia, Newport News, Virginia, or Norfolk. Those are the three closest airports. They're all an hour away from the Nat Turner land, and it's a great time. And then after that, shoot, it's almost time for the Kwanzaa tour. I don't know where I'm gonna go this year for Kwanzaa. Probably Atlanta, probably Houston, probably Memphis, or Nashville.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna make a couple stops.
Yeah, because we couldn't move this to November to give me more time. He was like, man, I want to try to keep it in October. So we had about 8-9 days, and I just made it happen.
But I'm on my victory lap, God willing, because once the school open, I ain't gonna be able to travel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Y'all gonna have to come to me. I've been coming to y'all. Y'all gonna have to come to the school, and y'all gonna love it because we're gonna have so much going on, so many activities, so many programs. We gonna have a day where we just pamper the sisters, the brothers. We do their feet and give them massages and feed them. And it's just gonna be heaven on earth. That's what I'm calling FDMG. Because although it's a school by day, it's gonna be a community healing center by night.
Right.
And we're gonna do everything. So some of y'all gonna be up there all the time. Find out the quickest way to fly to Philly. Philadelphia is 20 minutes from the front door of our school. Delaware is Philly's backyard. So y'all need to get on the airline, see if there's any flights that go straight. I'm pretty sure American goes straight to Philly because y'all gonna be spending a lot of time up there. Some of y'all might even want to buy a little investment property up there. And if you do decide to do that, make sure you go to wilmingtonlandbank.gov. That's the site where you can get all the cheap properties. Some of y'all who know how to fix up properties, wilmingtonlandbank.gov. A lot of people that already moved up there. I'm meeting people every day. Doc, we here now with the kids waiting. You know what I mean? So I gotta open the school.
Right.
Because this family's
That's
there.
what I'm
They
saying.
already there.
They want it now. They definitely want it.
I think we're going to be the next Black Wall Street.
Right.
I think Wilmington going to end up being. I think I'm going to attract so much energy. It's already predominantly black city. That I think we're going to end up Wilmington, Delaware, going to be the next Black Wall Street.
What made you consider doing a 20 verse 1?
The 20 verses 1. First of all, I never even heard of it until a brother texted me and said, "Would you consider doing the 20 verse 1?" So I posted it. I always ask my supporters because they know more than me. Then somebody else invited me. Then somebody else invited me. So I said, if I'm gonna do this 20 verses 1, I might just do it my damn self.
Yeah.
Get 20 curvy queens, right? And just do the 20 verses 1. I might do it if they pay me right, because I know that's gonna get buku views, you feel me? So they're gonna have to come with some real money for me to do that. But I think I'm just gonna do it myself, because I know what I like, you know what I'm saying? Natural hair, I'm gonna do it my way.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because me and Drewski did it his way, you know
Right.
what I mean? But I want to do all natural queens and everything like that. And I'm going to do it classy. It ain't going to be no hood thing.
Right.
It's going to be classy. But ladies, if you haven't heard, I do have my own podcast coming out, reality show. It's going to be called A Date with a Doctor. And what we're going to be doing is exposing black female entrepreneurs. But the setup is a date. So you're gonna come in, we're gonna have dinner, we're gonna expose a black chef, male or female, right? Put their business out there, what they cook. We're gonna eat and we're gonna talk. We just having a conversation about life, love, politics, relationships, and then we're gonna do one slow drag, especially if you curvy, right? And then we're gonna go for a walk, and that's gonna be the end. And we probably gonna do about 2 of them a month. There's gonna be a website, an email. So if you gotta own your own business. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you sell cupcakes on the side. You just have to have a business because we want to promote you, right? This is all about showing love to our sisters. You got to be an entrepreneur. You got to have natural hair. You cannot have a date with me if your hair ain't natural. So maybe you got to get an afro wig, do what you got to do, right? And you cannot be a bunny hopper, okay? And if you are a chef and you say, Doc, I don't want the date, but I do want to be one of the chefs for the date, we can help you get your chef business out there too. So you can do it either side. And brothers, you can also be a chef too. You know what I mean? So all that information gonna be coming soon. I'm looking forward to it. You're gonna have to come to me though. Most of the Date with the Doctors will be held in the Philadelphia, Delaware, Southern New Jersey, Northern Maryland area. Basically just flying to Philly, and we're gonna do them there. We will do some traveling, but most of them are gonna be local because I'm gonna be by the school. But I'm really looking to expose natural black women. That's the other thing. You got to be all natural from head to toe. Your eyelashes, your ass, your breasts, everything got to be all natural.
Suki's not natural.
I don't know about that no more because the last time I saw her, it looked like she undid some things. No. It looked like she undid some things.
As long as they undo it, they get for you, it's cool.
No,
you done it. Undo that.
She was looking very organic. I think, what's the sister who took out what's the light skin?
Black China.
Black China.
Yeah.
You feel me? She took out all that, you know what I mean?
So you cool with, this is a good conversation, you cool with having it done, but just revert back, baby, and I accept you.
I believe in redemption. If you revert back, I can live with you.
I believe in redemption.
If you revert back, I can deal with you.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Date with a Doctor, you got to be all
That's going to be dope, man. Do you got a
natural.
network for that? You looking for a network? You looking for?
I'm still exploring. I just want to get that first one taped.
Right.
And
Pilot
go through
type
it, you know,
thing.
because it's a
and
real
see what
simple
it's
thing,
like.
but it's powerful. Because I want to talk to, all we see from black women on mainstream media is sex, materialism, ratchetness.
Yeah.
I want to give them the other side of black women. Calm, cool, professional, collective, who got more to talk about than fingernails and hair. Y'all feel me? All natural black body, natural black hair, having a decent conversation across the table from their brother.
To shut down all these YouTube dudes, that's coming.
Honestly, I don't care about them. I really, when you focused on your mission, you don't care about that stuff. Let them do whatever they're going to do. You know what I mean?
So you don't feel, do you get asked about it by your real fans and stuff though? Do they be like,
People
I
ask
seen
me,
a video.
the most frequently asked question for Dr. Umar, they asked me this the other day in Toronto, Canada. How do you keep going given the state of mind all of our people are in? And how do you keep going given the amount of detraction you get from your work from the YouTubian struggle streamers? 3 things. Number 1, I was born to do what I'm doing. I don't think it's an accident. Number 2, I have a relationship with the Creator that I like to cultivate every day. I need to get better with it, need to be more consistent with my spirituality. All of y'all do, okay? All of us do. So I'm living my life, I'm living my mission, I'm living my purpose. When you know why, you can put up with almost any what? Did y'all hear what I just said? When you know why you are here, you can put up with almost anyone. 95% of all suicide victims never found a purpose. If they did, whatever caused them to take their life, they would have got through it. Purpose is king. Knowing why you live will get you through anything. Purpose, relationship with God, and number 3, I know I make a difference, man. Like the one thing that has kept me is when you get an elder send you a text message like 70 or 80 and be like, hey, I almost gave up on black people until I found you. I had an elder. He texted me, y'all. He said, you the only reason I haven't given up on black people. He said, if you are a effing fraud, I swear I'm done with us. That's what he said. You know what I mean? Or you get somebody run up to you and say, you're the reason my son ain't in jail. I've had couples come up. you're the reason we didn't get a divorce. Like some of the stuff people have told me, I'm like, are they really talking about me? I had a couple come up, we named our son after you. I had a brother text me today. He got my face tattooed on his leg. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the way I touch people, it's hard for me to believe that there isn't a calling on my life.
Right.
You know
And
what I
you
mean?
knee deep, man. You've been doing this stuff
My whole life. I don't know nothing else.
That's what
I
I'm
don't know
saying.
nothing. And that's
Who
what
are
kind-
you outside of this?
Same person. It's no difference.
If you had to stop this today for like health reasons, would you be okay?
Psychologist, I would still be helping people. My mother, thank God for my mom, she raised us to be givers. We were never takers. You know what I mean?
Right.
We were always givers, so that's going to be with me. I've been that way my whole life.
But you know how like athletes have trouble walking away from the game. Like, you know, their identity is
dying
kind
with
of
my
wrapped
shoes
up.
on. Frederick Douglass died with his shoes on. Marcus Garvey died with his. Who didn't? All of our leaders died with their shoes on. You know what I mean? Before their time, many of them, but they all died with their shoes on. I'm doing the same thing.
Right.
I'm doing this till the ancestors call me back. And when I come back in the next life, I do it again. That's why you got to finish good, y'all, because you're coming back. Most of us don't achieve God consciousness in one lifetime. 80 to 100 years, you're going to be back. So make sure you leave good, because they say that the way in which you left this life sets up how you come back in the next. And some of y'all won't be back for a century. Some of y'all won't be back for 2 centuries. But some of y'all coming back the next week after you die. And some African cultures, they believe that when you are near your last, your soul can actually incarnate in a newborn. So you can literally go into your new body before you leave here, if that's how quick you're supposed to come back.
Wow.
See, the Christians, you know, and I love my Christian brothers and sisters, they say only through belief in Jesus you have eternal life. You had eternal life when God sent you here. You're either going to keep coming back eternally till you fulfill your purpose, or you will achieve it and be merged with God forever. But eternal life is your birthright regardless. It doesn't require you to believe in any religion or any savior.
What set you on this path, though, as a young man? Like,
It started for me in the 3rd grade. We lived in Jacksonville, North Carolina. I didn't have a big brother, so I said I wanted to be the big brother for other kids, because my father, he was a pretty stern father, and I ain't had nobody to talk to. So I said, when I grew up, I'm going to be the person that everybody could talk to. That was 3rd grade. When my parents divorced and we got back to North Philly, the elementary school that I was in had a Black history class. This wasn't required by the school district. It just so happened that this principal and that principal made this happen for my school. So I had Black history in 4th grade, Black history in 5th grade. 6th grade, my father takes me to my first family reunion in Baltimore. That's when I found that I was related to Frederick Douglass, you know, and I'll never forget that family reunion, y'all, because I almost drowned in the Days Inn Hotel swimming pool. I jumped in the deepest pool of water, can't swim a lick, and guess who saved me? A big-breasted snow bunny. She came right over there. My sister came, but she said I almost pulled her under, so she left me. And the bunny came, and I saw 2 big white titties, and I just grabbed them. And I'm here today. Black power. Wherever that snow bunny is, I want to say thank you, ma'am. You saved the future prince of Pan-Africanism. I know you wouldn't have done it if you knew back then, but you saved the future prince.
ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Umar Johnson.
Black power.
Listen, so